Welcome to the 5th anniversary of Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. I'm the NFL Genius Gene Walzak in the upper left corner. I got Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, college Cutthroat.
Gents, 5 years. It's actually crazy that it's kind of flown by, 262 episodes later, and we're still on here every Wednesday. And, obviously we've had a lot of different changes to the show, from being in studio to obviously us being fully remote there. But it's crazy we've kept this train chugging, all these years.
The fully remote on our own stuff is a lot better than anything else. Let me tell you that right now.
For sure.
There's nothing I will trade for being fully remote on our own. I don't mean to say that to be disrespectful to anyone else, but I love to be able to do everything on our time and not have to worry about someone else.
For sure. Absolutely.
In the upper right corner, Scholastic Shally, Uncle Shally, Mr. William Shallcross.
Happy anniversary, gentlemen. And I would agree with Cottrell. I mean, Gene said 5 years today. I was like, I don't think that's right. I think he added an extra year somewhere. It's really been 5 years. It's crazy, man. I mean, like I said, I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It's nuts when you can sit back and look at. It's just a cool feeling when you can sit back and look at like something you've created with somebody else and built and continue to sustain. And like you guys said, it keeps getting better, but like, part of that is yours. It's a pretty cool feeling. It's an honor, and it's always fun. So we keep on trucking.
Keep on trucking. Thank you, Jory. Wishing us a happy 5th anniversary. Appreciate you. Do us a favor, give us a like, give us a share. Let's get out there. So that's what I'm doing. When you see my eyes dropped right now, it's me sending the show out to 100 people and annoying the crap out of them to their DMs. And I will do that every single week. So I don't care if you don't like it. Unfriend me. We got Hot Wire getting rolling this week. We're going to talk about a little Hot Wire act. Guys, I don't think last week could have been contributed as one of the worst weeks in Philly sports. Right? So the Phillies getting eliminated from the playoffs. The Eagles lost 2 games in a span of 5 days. Not a great week. Not a great week to be a Philadelphia sports fan. However, do you guys see my mood right now? I'm chipper. I'm in a good mood. And that is because of our first topic on Hot Wire tonight. Ding dong, the Franklin is dead. Get him out of here. Never been so happy to blow 2 20-point spread leads. Not leads. I don't know how to say that. The first time in the last 30 years an FBS team has lost 2 games in a row outright in which they were favored by 20 or more points.
It's pretty wild.
I'm thrilled. Now, what comes with James Franklin leaving is the fact that we have a bunch of solid recruits decommitted. But I'll live with that. Including, I think it was the number 1 running back prospect in the country. Decommitted.
2027, yep.
Oh, well, screw it.
He's also come out and said that he's open to still going there. He just wants to see who the head coach is going to be. So,
of course. Up, David Burns, appreciate you.
And a lot of those kids will be in the same boat. I mean, a lot of them, some of them might sign between, now and the time Penn State hires a new coach, but some won't, and they'll wait to see who's hired and then go from there. So some of those guys will end up on campus for you guys, regardless.
We're 5 years in. Everyone's in a good mood. Everyone's feeling chipper. I think we've forgotten, like, this is Hot Wire. This is my baby here. So
I apologize.
I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to throw the graphic up. And I like to dish it and give the assist here with the Hot Wire. Gene's all happy, and he's like, we got a shot now. Like, throughout the entire history of the Wire2Wire show, as much as he would come on and say before November that Penn State would have a shot to win a national championship and things like that, he actually gets to believe it now and believe in the search here. So you got James Franklin fired. Obviously, we've kind of already brought that up here, but another part of that is Drew Aller was also lost for the season for this Penn State group here. Now, what sucks about what Aller is that he is out of eligibility, so he wouldn't even be able to get a chance to go back to school. He hasn't looked great so far this year, but also there, we've talked about it in weeks past. Will Prebula is no longer the backup there, so it is truly going to be, uncharted territories for that Penn State group there. But with that said, Gene, you've already kind of tiptoed the waters a bit. How are you feeling now that Franklin is finally gone and this is going to be a completely new regime here come 2026?
Penn State's next quarterback from the University of Nebraska, Dylan Raiola, following his head coach, Matt Rule, back to Temple. I ain't worried about no Drew Aller. Screw him. I'll root against him. He's a goddamn cowboy for all I care. Don't care. Do not care. I don't care. Whatever it has to do to get Franklin out of here. It's like when the Sixers had Andre Iguodala and Elton Brand, and they were the 4 seed, losing in the conference semifinals every year. Blow it up. Trust the process. Now, granted, that didn't work out very well for us, but I'm fine with, if I have to take a step or two back to take some steps forward, I'm fine. Most coveted job in the country. Right now, obviously, there's no open jobs. But the point being is, we get our pick of the litter. We're Penn State. And by the way, all the people that are crying at home, they yelled, fire Franklin, while Franklin was hugging his daughter. He's going to hug his daughter with $666,000 a month for the next 6 years. Don't care. He's fine. Don't cry for me, Argentina. I don't care. Get him out of here. I don't care that we don't have a quarterback. I don't care that the number 1 running back decommitted. I don't care. I care about my franchise being built back the right way. And until then, it's the U for the rest of this year. That was an agreement we made on this show. When my team is eliminated, I can root for my national championship.
I mean, we never really made an agreement, but it's just been this unspoken thing that we've just kind of quietly accepted.
Yeah, it just is this thing Gene just started doing, and it's a yearly thing.
Bill, you got thoughts on the Franklin firing?
I mean, listen. I mean, I was pretty outspoken about it along with Gene. I don't think anything I said the last 2 weeks has changed. I'll say losing on the road to UCLA is one thing. Losing at home to Northwestern is another. That was definitely the straw that broke the proverbial camel's back. Listen to the AD his press conference, and I give him credit for making the tough decision. I think it'd have been easy. I think, especially with Drew getting hurt at this point, I think it'd have been easy for them to ride out the rest of the year with Franklin, knowing nothing's really going to change at this point, and it's going to kind of go downhill and then go from there. But they decided to cut ties now and get a head start, like Gene said. I can't imagine another job coming over that would be better than Penn State's job in the offseason unless something dramatic happens. I said it before, it's a top 10, top 12 job. I mean, it's one of the best jobs you can have in the country if you're a college football coach. They should have their pick of the litter. Matt Rule would not be my number 1 choice, but I think he's on the list for sure with his ties. And I just think Matt Rule is a little bit too similar to James Franklin for me. But that's just my opinion. I'd be really curious to see what they do. I know Gene's just overwhelmed with joy, but keeping some of those recruits does matter because you don't want your guy coming in. I think you have the ability to go get a guy that could probably bring a lot of people with him, and you really not have that fall off. So I wouldn't want to go lose all these recruits and kind of have a dip in the first couple years of somebody taking over the program. So
I'll tell you what I don't want, Shally. I don't want Manny Diaz. Don't bring Manny Diaz home. He can stay in Duke. I'm fine with Manny Diaz staying down there. Bring him back as a DC. I don't give a shit. Don't bring him as the head coach.
I mean, I don't think he's going to leave as a head coach, be a DC at this point.
Get it.
But yeah, I mean, I think listen, they're going to call him. I mean, I don't disagree with you. I wouldn't hire Manny Diaz either. But I think there's a lot of really obvious names that are going to be on that list. I keep seeing Nick Saban's name, and again, I think you need to do your due diligence to call and and make him pick up the phone and tell you no. But I think that's what the answer is going to be. And then I think
no, he wouldn't.
What do you say?
He said Diaz would go to Florida before Penn State. No, he wouldn't.
No,
and Diaz was Penn State alum.
Yeah, I mean, he coached in Miami. He's not going to go to Florida. But I think a lot of the obvious suspects are going to be on that list. And I think I would say you've probably already heard the person's name that they end up hiring in some sort of conversation. I think it's probably one of 6 or 7 people. I would be surprised if they went outside of that. Without not taking one of the obvious choices.
What name popped up a lot, Shally? Ohio State's own Brian Hartline.
He's on the list, and Cottrell's not going to like that. But I mean, it's funny because me and Cottrell have had this separate conversation about when would there be a job that would be good enough that like he wouldn't be able to probably say no and stay at Ohio State. This might be it. So he's going to recruit there well. If you feel like he's the guy and he can head a major program, like I said, I think he'll recruit well. If you think he can handle it, I think he's going to be a very popular name with a lot of people. Young guy that can, that hopefully you would think would stay there for a long time, have a lot of energy, bring a lot of energy and excitement probably back into the program. And he's an offensive-minded guy and obviously can recruit the hell out of wide receivers. So all things that Penn State is lacking and needs desperately. So that would be a very interesting name to watch.
Gene, you look like you had something to say.
Yeah, I just want to get right to you. It's my 4 horsemen. I have the 4 horsemen I want. Right? Okay. Any of the 4, I'm fine with. Give me Dillingham, Signetti, Rule, or Hartline. Any of the 4 those hires, I'm fine with. I'm not fine with any. What?
How would you rank them?
I think I want Dillingham more than anyone.
Ooh, all right.
Then I would go Signetti, Rule, Hartline.
Might be
makes
different,
sense.
But yeah,
makes sense to me. I think the one thing though, if you're Penn State, and it's not to say that I don't think Brian Hartline would be a great head coach because I do. He can recruit his ass off, and I think he'd put together a great staff around him. But if you're Penn State, though, that's going to take time. And I say that because you look at coaches from like the Ohio State tree, and again, I get it. Hartline is a great recruiter. He is a great developer of talent at the receiver position. But do you want to take the risk and go the Wisconsin route with Luke Fickell? Because like obviously that hasn't panned out. And I'm not saying Hartline is going to be Luke Fickell there. Or do you want to go with somebody who is a proven head coach at this point and seeing if they could turn the program around in, year 1 or year 2? Because like Signetti went to Indiana and he was there for a year and they made a college football playoff. Granted, a lot of people said that they shouldn't, but now look at them. They're the number 3 overall team in the country. So like, if you think that you can go get a Kurt Signetti, there's no reason why I wouldn't think that Signetti would have the pull to get players to not only, follow him to Penn State, but also he has a big time recruiting class, I'm sure, or at least some semblance of recruiting class already that would follow you to Penn State there. So if I'm Penn State, I feel like going after the more proven commodity at the head coach position would be the way to go. Not necessarily just, retread or, hiring the guy with the biggest name, but Dillingham and Cignetti are the two that make a ton of sense to me. Hartline, I think, would be a better fit for a school like Florida that John Suggs mentioned earlier because of his connections and stuff down there. And the expectations right out the gate aren't going to be national championship. But with James Franklin, this was a team that had every intention of winning a national championship this year, and that's not going to happen, of course. But I think you want to try and turn the program around as quickly as possible. And I think the best way to do that is a proven name. So the three people that I look at right away are Dillingham, of course, is one of them. Cignetti is one of them. And then another one will be Matt Campbell. Matt Campbell has been coaching his ass off at Iowa State for God knows how long. He has the connections of recruiting in the Midwest there with him being a Toledo guy originally. I think that would be a really good fit there, and he'd be the kind of guy to turn the culture around there at Penn State, because Iowa State's always looked at as a team that is very disciplined and will not shoot themselves in the foot, like how we've seen Franklin, basically kill a lot of big games for that Penn State team.
See, the problem is this, and Cottrell, and this is what I think a lot of people fail to realize. The amount of money the Penn State boosters have to put out to pay off James Franklin, they might look for an up-and-coming coach, like a younger coach that they don't have to pay a significant amount. See, Cignetti and Rule, the buyouts, to being able to get them there, what they're going to have to pay them to be there, it's not an easy sell. And by the way, I want to mention this real quick. We're not hiring another bald-headed Vandy coach in Clark Lee. He might be a good coach. I'm not doing it again. I've watched that story happen. He's bald. He's from Vanderbilt. I don't want him.
The one thing I want to say, though, about your point, Gene, is that Penn State was very crafty with how they worded James Franklin's buyout. So he does have to go on the search to look for another coaching job. And if he does that, potentially, I don't know what the exact workings are, but if he does that and he finds another job, that buyout number is going to come down a significant amount there. Like, I believe the buyout can actually end up being as low as $19 million, depending on what job he gets, what kind of contract he signs there. So while on the surface, the $50 million buyout number is absolutely wild, if James Franklin can land on his feet, and let's say, there's plenty of schools right now that have openings that I do think he, could be a candidate for, like a Arkansas or a Oklahoma State. Like, if he wants to coach in college football, like, someone will hire him because he's good at turning a program around. He just can't win the big games.
Correct.
First off, all that kind of reverse psychology, negative nonsense about Brian Hartline that Cottrell just spewed all over this podcast is nothing more than him just not wanting to leave Ohio State. So Gene, don't listen to any of that nonsense. Number one, that's just Cottrell making himself feel better in his head that Brian Hartline is not going to leave. That's all that was.
He go to Florida.
Florida's a more high pressure job than Penn State is.
Yeah, but clearly they give you 3-4 years to figure it out.
They don't want that. They thought that's why Billy Napier's been on the hot seat for the last 2 years. That team hasn't been relevant in over a decade. They're clamoring for somebody to come down there and just win 11 games out of the gate. He'd have more pressure down there than he would at Penn State. Dillingham for me is really interesting because I think the assumption would be that if he comes, he brings Levitt with him. That's obviously plug and play. You got your guy for 2 years. And you go on from there, and you just got to make sure you have somebody come in. You recruit somebody after that. Cignetti would be my guy. If
65 though.
What?
He's 65.
Cares.
I do. I don't.
Bro, he wins you a national championship. He wins you a national championship the next 5 years. You care how old he is?
No. If he wins a national championship the next 5 years, no.
Okay.
That's the one that's the only thing that kind of.
I don't think
Saban is 73 right now.
Exactly.
So
I'm not calling Saban. He wasn't on my list,
bro. If you call Nick Saban and he goes, "I'll take the job," you're going, "Cool." I'll send over paperwork. Correct. So let's knock that nonsense off right now too. We can stop
you're
that.
Talking about you, I'm not doing that.
You're not hiring Nick Saban. If Nick
No.
Saban calls the
Nick
president
Saban
and goes,
said,
"Yo,
I'll take
I want
3
that
years.
job," you're not
I
hiring
don't
him.
want a 73-year-old head
Bro,
coach.
stop it!
I
Stop
know.
it! Stop it! Are you okay?
Yes, I'm fine.
Not hiring Nick Saban. You sound worse than Cottrell now.
I'm not. It's 73. I don't want him. All right, we got to
If
move. We're
Saban
20
said I
minutes
signed a
in.
3-year deal, you say you're I'm good. You're good.
3-year deal, maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
No, let's see.
All right.
Let's move.
Well, I'm sure we'll talk more Penn State as time gets closer because it is the hottest job that's open right now, unless something absolutely bonkers happens the rest of the way here.
James Franklin's going to Michigan State. Watch.
But moving on though, we have a champion in WNBA. Las Vegas Aces took care of business and brought out the old broom, 4-0 sweep over the Phoenix Mercury. Gents, I don't know how much of this series you guys actually got to catch, but just wanted to get your immediate kind of thoughts here about the Aces and how they were really left for dead at the end of August. And now we're talking about them going on this dominant run, and they were hoisting the trophy there at the end.
Experience matters.
Game 1 and game 3. The Phoenix Mercury had opportunities in game 1 to win a game on the road at Las Vegas, had opportunities in game 3 to win a game and tie the series up at home. They did neither. Both those games, those close games that they could have swung the series, that ended up being the downfall. Satu Sabali not playing in game 4 due to concussion. I knew 100% it. What?
That was wild. Her getting the concussion and then them walking her off. I'm like, do they like not have any medical staff that's like trained in what to do when players have concussions? Like what are we doing?
It was bad. She actually was cooking on Sunday too. Give her credit. She was cooking. But I'll say this: Kalia Copper and Alyssa Thomas felt in that one game at Satu Sabali felt like the only players on the Phoenix Mercury that were in the WNBA finals. Whereas with the Aces, obviously you're getting that contribution from Asia Wilson, but Chelsea Gray and Jackie Young played their ass off. And if I hate saying this because I'm not a fan of hers, but if you watch some of the games, Nalissa Smith made way more of an impact than what's on the stat sheet.
For sure.
That's what I'll say. Not a fan, way more of an impact than was on the stat sheet.
For sure. And I think Asia, it was kind of weird, right? Because Asia, it almost felt like she felt more comfortable with another big next to her. And of course, the presence was felt on both sides of the court. And I'm 100% with you. Like when Alyssa Smith was definitely, I don't want to say an X factor because I feel like that would be kind of overselling it a bit, but she was definitely a pivotal piece to the Aces and what their success was, you know, in winning a WNBA championship this year.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think Gene's point. I mean, and Cottrell, we talked about it, you know, last week before Gene hopped on. Game 1, they kind of gave away. You know, we talked about it. You know, it's never a series until home team loses the game. Blah blah blah. You know, Las Vegas came out of that game a little flat and made a big run after the start of the second half. Got back into it, pulled it out. Game 2, they played a really good game. Phoenix was never really in that one. And it's the same thing, to Gene's point, game 3, you come out, you win your first game at, home and hold serve, and it's a completely different series. Once they lost that game, and like you guys said with the injuries and everything else, I knew that was going to be a wrap. There's no way Las Vegas is going to, fold to that degree. Another championship for Asia. I think Vegas at some point found what they were and who they were in August, and they showed it. They won 17 straight at some point, got in the playoffs. We talked about how they were kind of flat in the first round, and they had another wake up call. And they go on to win another championship. So they are, I don't know if you want to call them a dynasty. I don't know what you want to call them, but they are the top of the class in the WNBA right now. I think Phoenix got a lot of really good experience this year. If they can stay healthy next year. Again, I think Phoenix is a team that a lot of people didn't think would figure in, as much as they did this year. Definitely surprised a lot of people. I think this will be a good learning experience for them. And then we'll see what everybody else does next year. We'll see, how Indiana looks, assuming Caitlin's healthy. And then New York, they're kind of getting old. What do they do? But it should be a fun off season. I think it was a great year for the league overall. And Asia just keeps doing Asia things. So
Well,
she's
I'll tell
the
you what
constant.
I'll tell you what they're gonna do next year. They're gonna be picketing. They're going to be striking, and I don't know if you see a WNBA season next year. So, I think that a lot of these players are dug into the movement, and until I will say though, and once they get a new commissioner, I do think sides may start to budge a little bit. But like right now, I think the players are pretty dug in on we're not going to be negotiating in good faith with the current regime as it's currently set up.
The tables have turned. It's such a mistake for them to go on strike.
I agree. I agree. 100%.
I think that the players are just as much fault. Listen, the regime's terrible. Don't get it twisted. I think they're absolutely at fault in this scenario. They cannot go on strike at this situation. They just can't. It's a terrible, terrible look. Negotiate the best possible deal and renegotiate in 5 years.
I would go shorter. I would say, hey, put us a good deal for a year, and while you figure out what you're doing with the commission's office and the referee, all the stuff that players have gripes with, I would say, hey, we got to talk about this within the next year. But they've waited too long. Their leverage is starting to fade, and I would try and put together a temporary deal.
They will never have more momentum than they have right now. And if you interrupt all that with a work stoppage, I think it could absolutely be catastrophic for the players.
Agree. I don't want to miss out. Look, I don't think we've ever talked about her on the show. Probably might not talk about her again. But if you watch game 1 of the WNBA Finals, the Dana Evans game needs to be mentioned, because that was the contributor that helped the Aces from coming back from down 7. He was incredible in that game. And I don't want to go to show without mentioning that twist in game 1. Every finals team seems to have that one person that's not Jewel Lloyd, that's not Asia Wilson, that's not Jackie Young. And that's the Dana Evans game. Louisville's own Dana Evans came in and gave them a spark, and give credit where credit is due. I think that was a big key in them winning game 1.
For sure.
Sorry, I didn't mean to get off I just didn't want to lose the WNBA finals talk before I said that.
No, I got you. Well, anything else here WNBA wise you guys want to talk about? All right, cool. So we're going to keep it on the hardwood. This one will be quick. Get us on out of hot wire. Russell Westbrook today signed to a deal with the Sacramento Kings. Now, of course, I know both of you are going to say this doesn't move the needle. And this is not a championship winning move, but thoughts on Brody having another job here and going to Sacramento. Does he change anything? Does he have the ability to help anything with the Kings, or is this just one of those, he's a future Hall of Famer. We're just throwing him in here to talk about him a little bit, and we're just going to move on?
I think it's a perfect fit for him.
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect fit for him. I mean, your starting point guard right now is Dennis Schroeder. You don't think that Russell Westbrook can give you a little bit different of a – Dennis Schroeder's going to give you one, and Russell Westbrook's going to give you another. They're different players. That team is all based off the health of different players that are coming up. That's like the new Chicago Bulls. You know, you got Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, Russell Westbrook. Look, Domantas Sabonis, they have a lot of good players on that team.
Keegan Murray.
My point being is, I think it's a perfect fit. It's a low market that you're not going to get a ton of televised, not a ton of pressure. I think it's a perfect fit for him. And I think he can contribute there.
Bill?
I agree. I think he helps. Is he a needle pusher? No, but I mean, I don't think that's fair to Russ in the sense that I don't know. There's not really a ton of them, and I don't think that's what they're looking for him to be anyway. To Gene's point, Dennis Schroeder's going to give you what Dennis Schroeder's going to give you. Russell's going to play 25 minutes a night, probably, if not a little bit more. He might not start, but he's going to play a lot. And, I think Gene, really kind of summed everything up as well. That team's got to stay healthy. If that roster stays healthy, that's talent. You play Sabonis around all those guys, some that can shoot, can play off the ball. It's not a bad team. I don't know if it competes in the West with what's going to be there this year, but it's a playoff team, and he helps. I mean, he gives them depth and a ton of experience. And I think Russ is, I think the last couple of years especially, I think Russ is, kind of finally, realized he fits in certain places and swallow the ego a little bit. And, again, I think he's a good piece for them. So I think it's a good signing for Sacramento.
Funny enough, we actually have right on cue, we have breaking news. Sacramento Kings, nothing crazy. Sacramento Kings forward Keegan Murray is signed a 5-year, $140 million rookie extension. So you got a core piece there in Keegan. I agree with you guys, though. I do think Russ helps, and I think he adds a different dynamic to that Sacramento Kings team. Now, I know Mike Brown's obviously not there, but I feel like with Russ, he wants to just go, even as he gets older in age. So you saw the Kings have a lot of success when they had, De'Aaron Fox there, and he was there pushing the pace and things like that there. So while I know you have DeMar, you have Levine, who, you always worry about injuries. You always worry about just being this middle of the pack team. I do think it'd be a good fit for him, because I think at this point in his career, Russ is going to work best with bigs that can pass, and Sabonis is going to be one of them. Obviously, last year he was with Denver, with Joker, and I thought he had a lot of success being in that dunker spot. And I think Sacramento can, utilize some of that with Sabonis and Russ being together. So I think this is a good move there for him. He's going to get playing time, and he's going to have a shot to have success there. So I do like it for Russ.
Completely agree.
But that is it for Hot Wire this week, gents. Guessing we're moving on to the NFL.
Oh, I'm ready. What's happening, Sam? I'm gonna rip the Band-Aid off early. This is 2023.
Okay. I was just about to ask. Can I ask the question again?
Yeah.
Because I asked you guys last week. Are we ready to hit the panic button in Philadelphia?
100%. This is 2023. The difference between this and 2023 is we have a competent defensive coordinator that will keep us winning football games, and that we won't completely implode. They need to fire the offense coordinator. Kevin Patul needs to be fired. If I'm on the internet and I'm watching, dude, Emmanuel Acho is incredible, but I figured that shit out 2 weeks ago, and I should have posted it myself, that they run out of 2 sets. They run out of 3x1 sets to the weak side. It's so ridiculous. They're the most predictable team in the NFL, and when you not have an experienced offensive coordinator, an experienced play caller, and this is the whole problem I've always had with Nick Sirianni. Not saying Sirianni needs to be fired. I'm not going crazy and saying any dumb shit like that. But the problem I have with Sirianni is you can't be a cheerleader that doesn't hire good coordinators to consistently run the offense and defense. He is a cheerleader. That's what he is. Motivation guy, president, John Harbaugh-like figure. But John Harbaugh constantly brings in, either Greg Roman or like different aspects, like Todd Monken, to run the offense, and they have defense coordinators. And this is exactly what happens when you do what Baltimore did with their defensive coordinator spot after Mike McDonald left, Zachary Orr. It's a bad promotion. It's a bad hire. Kevin Patul, I said this after the Super Bowl, please do not promote from within. I'm fine with moving on from Kellen Moore, but I need to see an offensive coordinator that will be here for the long haul. That's the problem. Offensive coordinators are of high priority. You win the Super Bowl, you're a good team, your offensive coordinator is going to get sniped for a head coaching job. Kevin Patul is bad hire. And now the offensive problems are back arise. AJ Brown's being exactly what I told you guys he would do. I said this in February when he made the post about, well, I really don't care about winning the Super Bowl. I just want to dominate defensive backs. Like, it's time to panic in Philadelphia.
Bill, it's your team. It's your team, so I want to hear your input on it. I got thoughts on the AJ Brown side of it, but
you're gonna
hear what you got to say, Bill.
You're gonna be wrong.
I'm not ready to like push it, but I want to know where it is.
You open the box.
Yeah, like the little cover that goes over top of it. We've opened that as a precautionary measure. I think the one thing that's holding me back, I agree with Gene, and the play calling has been atrocious. There's no defending it. I'm not even going to get into that part of it. The only thing that I kind of want to see, like, if the O-line was healthy and we were getting dominated like this, that would be one thing. We're pretty much 3 guys down at this point. If after the bye week, if we can come back healthy and we can start running the ball again in less predictable sets, less predictable formations, again, which we've already covered, I think that takes a lot of the burden off a lot of people and lets everybody kind of exhale a little bit. But we can't run the ball right now because we're getting blown off the ball. Landon Dickerson, to his credit, is trying to tough it out. The guy's got like 3 injuries. He just can't do it. He's just standing there at this point. They have to get healthy. They have to get Saquon going. Saquon's a little banged up himself. But I will say this. I don't think, to Gene's point, on the other hand, though, I don't think you can let it get to the point where 2023 becomes even more ominous and obvious and let that implosion happen. Like if you get to 4-4, 4-5, and this keeps going, this team still has way too much talent. There's not enough excuses in the world for this team not to make the playoffs. Then he's got to be fired. You got to make changes immediately. Because to Gene's point, the defense is still playing okay. Cornerback 2 is a gaping hole of an issue, but they're still going to keep you in games that you could probably not play real well and win against certain opponents. So that's going to mask some of it. Again, if the offense continues to look like it is, this isn't scaling up anymore for the Eagles either. They've been to 2 Super Bowls in the last 3. They've won one of them. Like there's expectations. Like we talk about in college football all the time. Like there's a standard now here with this team, with this group of talent, with this group of players. Like we're not pissing a season away here. Like your job was hired to run the offense and make it as seamlessly as possible to last year. Move the football with the most talented offense that there is in the NFL. And if you can't get that done, you can't win games, then you're fired. It's the NFL. It's the big boy league. Like there is no, there's no give them a season. Like I said, like you won the Super Bowl. Like there can't be, okay, we can take this year off. That's bullshit. The fan base isn't going to stand for it either. So if he can't figure it out in the next couple of weeks, assuming everybody gets healthy, then they got to make a move. They got to make a move, and they got to do it immediately. Get that all that negative energy, all of it out of the room, and then hopefully bring somebody else in that will kind of let Jalen and everybody kind of freewheel a little bit more like they did last year, and just go out and play. That is, to me, I also look at it now. I feel like you're watching them on TV, and it's like they're almost afraid at times to like force something or try to make a play. It's just like check down. It's like play within this really tight box that we're calling plays in, and it's not working. So something's got to change.
And not put the whole thing on the coaching staff. Jalen's got to make better decisions too.
He hasn't been great. I agree.
Year 6 for Jalen. He's won a Super Bowl. He's a big time quarterback. I gave him compliments for being his intangibles. I got to criticize him. That interception he threw is insanely bad. Now, granted, he hasn't thrown many this year, but I could watch that play as a guy sitting on the couch and know they were disguising cover 1 to cover 0. They ran motion. It was so obvious what they were doing. That ball's got to go to AJ Brown.
I was going to say, one-on-one, pre-snap. Even if it's 1, AJ's one-on-one
Yep.
Even with the safety up top, like if it was that, and it wasn't that, and you should have saw that right away pre-snap. And you kind of roll that way too. And so I don't know.
I know, but it's a terrible interception, and it's the game-ending interception. The game's 27-17 at that point. They score a touchdown or a field goal. They're still in the football game. After that interception, the game's over.
Yeah, there's an nail in the coffin.
And it was a really bad read. It's a read that, like, it's almost like this, right? I know, I'll get into baseball in a minute. I know Teoscar Hernandez is a moron of a base runner, CJ, but if you're coaching a baseball team and a guy makes a stupid base running mistake that cost your team an inning, that will eventually cost your team the game, that's what the likes of that was. And when he threw that ball on the out to Jahan Dotson, bad throw, bad read. Game ending. That's it.
So that's actually funny because it brings me right into what I wanted to say with AJ. One, I trade him at this point.
You can't. I hate people that say that. You can't.
Why? Why
you know
can't
what the
you?
dead cap hit is for AJ Brown if he gets traded?
I don't. Actually.
Okay, so it's $60 million. It'd be higher than the Carson Wentz dead cap hit. You can't trade him. He cannot be traded. Anybody that says he's being traded, I want to fight you. The dead cap is nearly $90 million if he's traded. Sorry.
So even with that being the case, though, one, you made it out of the Carson Wentz dead cap alive and thriving.
Trade an $89 million cap hit. You can't.
At this point, if you believe that he is the problem or a big part of the problem, you figure out the money. How he's a wizard with the money, I get it. Dead cap is going to suck, whatever the case may be. But point being is, AJ Brown is going to be what AJ Brown is. Like we knew at some point, as soon as you saw the offense struggling, it was like, all right, we're just waiting for the week for AJ to have his blow up. And now week after week, you have some new story with AJ, whether it be the, Jalen and Saquon talking about their conversation that they had, it being a meeting, and AJ's like, no, we were just in the parking lot. That wasn't a meeting. Like, I don't know what you guys are talking about. Or just these cryptic things that he says. I think that's definitely causing division there. And I think the problem is you guys are losing. Like last year, he would say kind of things, or he may just have like these gestures and things like that, but you guys are winning all the time. So it didn't really matter. It was like, that's AJ. Like when we're talking about the disruption in AJ and Jalen's relationship last year. And it's like, oh, well, AJ's, Jalen's kids like godfather or whatever. Like they have such a good relationship. So not necessarily worried about that, but it just seems like it's this recurring thing there. And if the offense is going to continue to struggle, and I don't even know who would be the right team there, but if you think you can get a bona fide difference maker, I don't see why you wouldn't move on from him. I know the money's crazy, but if a team offers you a first round pick for AJ, which I don't think would happen, but if they do, I would at least consider it, because if you add another first round talent with the way that Howie drafts and things like that to this bunch, I think long term that's a better move than having AJ, who you consistently have issues with.
The move was to trade him in the offseason before he signed the extension to the New England Patriots, who actually won him. That was the move. That's not going to happen now because it's $89 million in dead cap. It's a myth. It's fantasy football. It's a mythological trade. It's not going to happen. If it happens, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'd lose my mind. It's not realistic. Here's the problem, though. Here's all I want from you. I wanted Gene. You were right. That's it. Just say I was right. Because I told you in the offseason when he wrote that stupid-ass post about, the Super Bowl, it's just 2 days, and I don't care anymore. I don't get my joy from winning Super Bowls. I get my joy from lining up versus a defensive back and him not being able to stop me because I want to dominate. He doesn't care about winning. He wants the goddamn football. I can't stand that. I've never liked that. I've told you guys this for a year and a half that he's a problem. And ever since he has an issue with Jalen Hurts, It's been a problem. And Brandon Graham just spoke about it recently. Now he doesn't play in the NFL. And he basically said, guys, we're going to ruin the team over you guys not being able to get along. They don't fucking like each other. It is so goddamn obvious, and it's a problem. And it was a problem. And I think Howie Roseman basically gave him hush money. Hey, I'll give you an extension. I'll give you a bunch of money. Shut the fuck up. And A.J. Brown still can't do that. He still can't do that.
Well, these problems are arising now that you're losing. So you're losing and not getting a ball. It's a lot different than when you're winning and not getting
the ball. The problems were when they were 4-0, and he wrote the tweet after 4-0 about when the person doesn't listen to you, like quietly move away. That was after the Bucs game. They were 4-0. That's when the problem started. It wasn't over after the losses.
Okay.
It wasn't. It was after him making a post at 5:15 when their game ended at 4:30 about when you don't feel listened to or heard, quietly walk away. Don't say a word. That's when the problem started. He's an asshole. He's always been an asshole. He'll always be an asshole. This is the most I've cursed on the show in a long time. I got to stop. But it's a problem. Sorry. John, am I wrong?
I don't like. Listen, I get what you're saying. I do, but at the same time, I don't want to pay a guy number one money and be number one. A guy that's going to be number one. That's just like, you know what? I'll catch 2 balls a game. I don't want that either. Like, you know, and at some point, like, I guess we'll see where everything lands. Like when 20 years from now, when we find out what really went on between AJ and Jalen Hurts. But I'll tell you this too, like, if you can't get your number one guy the ball, it's a problem. Like, and that's I don't care. Like Dallas Goedert looks like freaking prime Tony Gonzalez right now. Like, like we can get him the ball. Here's the other thing. Don't look at Saquon's body language and don't think he's not pissed off or he's not upset. He just hasn't tweeted about it. He's frustrated as hell. Like
Smitty too.
What?
I said Smitty too. They've been trying to have reports about Smitty.
Correct. Like it's everybody.
So like, tweeted about it too.
So again, stop putting it all in AJ's feet. There's obviously a lot of people in that room that are not happy with what's going on. And then you factor in on top of that, have it either be the play calling or, to your point, as usual, Jalen struggles with cover 0 and cover 1 a lot, differentiating and coming off thing. And now all of a sudden we're not throwing the ball down the field anymore. Like AJ's getting 7 catches for 20 yards because they're all 3-yard outs. When's the last time AJ caught the ball over the middle, 25 yards down the field? We haven't even thrown that ball this year.
You know what we did? He just stopped running during it.
Okay, so one. My point is this, Nick.
That's another.
But again, we're saying AJ, but we've all just agreed. Saquon's frustrated. Smitty's frustrated. They're finding ways to get Dallas Goedert the ball. Jalen's not playing well, so it's just you can't lay it all on the feet of the one guy that you say doesn't care about winning. But he's blatantly said, if we're winning and I'm not getting the ball, that's one thing. But when we're not winning and you're not getting me the ball and I'm not getting looks, I'm not getting targets, that's what you pay me to freaking do. You're not throwing me the football. He's not, bro. Again,
after they were 4-0.
You don't know what that is about, though, dude. You don't know the conversation. You weren't in the room. You're projecting a lot of things that he went in that room after they were 4-0 and said, "Give me the football," and everybody's like, "Yo, get the hell out of here, dude." You don't know that's what happened. You don't. You're projecting and you're assuming a lot. Assuming makes an ass out of people a lot of times. Just like when everybody's like, "Oh, Donovan was 100% right," and then Brian Dawkins and all those guys came out and they were like, "Yo, Donovan's just as big a problem with this as T.O. is." And that's what split the locker room back then, because the guys that were leaders on the team were like, "Yo, Donovan's a punk." Yeah. Donovan's saying one thing in the media, and we're in the locker room, he's doing something else. It's the same thing.
If you're not welcome, not listened to, quietly withdraw. Don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way.
Okay, so then if he didn't tweet that and he came out and was like, "You know what? They don't want to give me the ball. Oh, this is bullshit, blah, blah, blah." You've been mad about that. He simply said, "I'm not going to cause a problem. I'm not going to cause a scene." And he hasn't. He hasn't flipped down the sideline yet. He hasn't done anything. I agree with you with all that bullshit. When he does that, I can't stand it. But as of right now, he's done none of that. So, and whatever the Jalen thing is, everybody's assuming again that whatever that fracture is, that it's 100% on AJ. And I'm telling you point blank, I don't believe that. I don't believe that at all. For those guys to be that close, for something to happen that drastic, I find it hard to believe it's all on one person. Like, you named the guy your godfather of your son, for Christ's sake. Like, that's a close relationship. That's like the next person outside of your family that you would consider blood. Like, that's who you name the godson if you're going to do that. There's no way that just like AJ said something to somebody and Jalen got hurt. And if Jalen's that sensitive, then Jalen has problems too. Because then he can take that smug look off his face because he's turning into fucking Donovan McNabb then. Like, you can't be that soft.
I think two things here that I want to just get at before, I don't know if you guys have more to say about it, but one is Jalen Hurts is a robot. Like, it feels like at times, like, you can never get any emotion out of him. You can never get a real quote out of him. So regardless of if it's,
we're going to improve next week. We're going to be better.
If it's AJ being upset about certain things or just saying things a certain way, like, we don't even know how Jalen Hurts truly feels about anything. And then the other point that I wanted to make was, Gene, you talked about that out that turned into the interception where AJ was open. If you're AJ Brown and you are like in that spot, like that Giants game, honestly, if I was a number one receiver, I would be pissed too. We run this gadget play to Dallas Goedert on the goal line. Granted, you guys scored off of it, which is good, but you run a gadget play where it's clearly, a man-to-man cover situation. Jalen has AJ on the left side of the field, all the room in the world to go one-on-one with the defensive back. And that felt like it wasn't even thought about as an option. And then later on in the game, when that interception ultimately happens, you get AJ running on the deep over where he ends up, pretty much wide open there. If AJ puts that on the back pylon, that's a touchdown. And we're talking about a completely different game because it's different when you're 27-24 with your defense, getting out there on their own 25-yard line, as opposed to, we're basically in the red zone here and the Giants got a chance of just punching in and kill the game there. So I can understand the frustration when you can see it with your eyeballs that there's opportunity there for him to get him the ball. But if he was just saying like, they're not getting me the ball, and it's like, well, teams are double covering you. They got a safety over top of you every play and things like that. I think that would be a different story.
Yeah, but and I'm done. We got to move, but Jamar Chase is doubled. Justin Jefferson is doubled. Teams scheme up to take away top receivers all the time, yet it doesn't work because offensive coordinators know how to scheme players open. They put them in motion. They put them in slot. That's a Kevin Toole problem.
Okay, yeah, that's not an AJ problem. Like, again, so what if AJ went in that meeting and was like, bro, do something different with me? Like, if we can't figure it out, to your point, then put me in motion, do this and do that. And they were like, bro, we got it. I'm not saying it happened, but who knows if that is what happened. And like to your other point, like, you don't think back in the day, like if Randy Moss is wide open and somebody made him like if you're telling me your quarterback is beyond reproach with certain things, that's not good. That's not good either. Like that's the one thing that sunk Carson Wentz, because apparently when he fucked up, nobody could go in the locker room like, yo, you missed this, you missed that. He was like, no, like I didn't. If that's what we're getting with Jalen, then like we're going down the same goddamn path then. Like to your point, like what you said earlier, they score on that possession, it's a completely different game.
100%.
So yeah, if he is wide open in the middle of the field and you throw a horrible pick because you're not looking, or again, you don't come off your first goddamn read, which is his Achilles heel.
Coverage zero, you have to be able to read the defense. You have to know. Understand.
Correct. And AJ goes in the locker room and is like, yo, you missed that one. And Jalen gave him shit. That's on Jalen, dude. That's not on AJ.
That concept should have been so easy too. The safety's on Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert runs a hook. That's 11 yards for the first down. If the safety drops down to Dallas Goedert, you throw it to AJ. The safety doesn't drop down to Dallas Goedert, you throw it to Dallas Goedert. It was the easiest concept in the world to understand. I watched it at home and was just like, how did that ball? I'm even talking to the people in my house. I'm like, well, AJ and Devontae are on one side and there's no safety over top. So you know they're man. Like I'm literally in the house saying that. So
how can you see that and he can't?
I agree. I said that. I'm not Jalen's not above criticism. I'm not saying he is. I'm not saying the reason the offense is not doing well is because of A.J. Brown. I'm saying A.J. Brown is an asshole.
You know what this
Bro,
feels like?
two different
You know,
things.
you know what this feels like, honestly. And Gene, you in hindsight, you were right and you were wrong about it. But this feels like Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons all over again. Like AJ is Ben,
No,
and Joel is AJ. Like Joel is Jalen. Like
Jalen's not hurting nowhere near as much.
Yeah.
I mean, not as far as injuries goes. I was just talking about like
Jalen plays more games a year than Joel does. That's the problem.
I'm talking about the perception in the
yeah, but Joel doesn't. Jalen doesn't go out and talk to the media like Joel did either.
Jalen also doesn't throw everybody in the organization under the bus but himself too.
I'm just saying is when we were having the issues with Ben and all that stuff, it was like, well, no, Joel has the heart. Like he wants to do this. We're giving him every excuse under the sun, and then it finally came to the point where it's like, all right, maybe he is a part of the problem.
A lot of football games happened this week. I want to ask you guys this question real quick. We're going to end that. We're going to get into trivia in a minute. But what was the last time? I said this on Coffee and Sports. You guys might have heard it already. In the last, I'm extended. In the last 2 years, how many times has a team been called for 0 penalties in a football game? Last 2 years.
Can't be a lot.
I'd imagine twice.
Once the Indianapolis Colts in 2024, and the second one was the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday Night Football. It's happened, actually, just to be clear, it's happened 15 times over the last 25 years. And 4 have been the Kansas City Chiefs in the last 5 years. Okay, take it a step further. Did you guys see the study that was done?
2012 to 2023.
There's a study done on roughing the passer. It was at I forget what university. It's like Utah, some bullshit university. I think UTEP or something. But they're called 34% more roughing the passer penalties are called for the Kansas City Chiefs than any other team in the National Football League. 34%.
That's a wild number.
I think the Kansas City Chiefs were the better football team on Sunday night. I think they win the football game regardless. I've said this 3 weeks in a row. The Jets got screwed on Monday Night Football versus the Miami Dolphins. Fixed football game. The Eagles got screwed on Sunday afternoon by the Denver Broncos game. Fixed football game. And the Lions got screwed on Sunday Night Football. Fixed football game. Yeah, okay. That's fair. Tony, Chiefs fan, says, you mean to tell me the NFL protects its biggest financial access? Next, you're going to tell me the MLB favors Shohei. Yeah, you're absolutely correct. They protect their biggest financial asset. You are absolutely correct. Doesn't mean it's fair.
You're right. But, I mean, to that same token, I vividly remember, and I don't even know what the numbers were, it felt like Brady got every possible potential roughing the passer call later on in his career. So, not saying it's right or not saying I agree with it. And I mean, there was a couple blatant penalties that I thought the Chiefs actually got away with in that game.
Travis Kelce hold the shit out of him.
Yeah, there was Travis Kelce did have a hold there. The block in the back on Brian Branch that ultimately resulted in, the scrum that we saw after the game was over there.
It was.
Yeah. I mean, ultimately though, we're not really used to, this isn't really anything new. Like we've always talked about the refs. We've always talked about, the Chiefs getting the home cooking and things like that. For me, it's crazy stat for sure that there was no penalties called in the game, but just watching that game, the entire game, to me, it felt like the Chiefs were the better football team. Like there was never a doubt where I was like, the Lions just got hosed. Like this turned the course of the game or anything like that. Like Chiefs just looked better all night long in my book.
I agree. I think it's worth mentioning. And then last thing on the recap list, we'll obviously go into pick them afterwards. We'll do a trivia and then pick them. But the Chicago Bears, Washington Commanders, I want to make this statement out loud. I want you to hear it. Okay. Jaden Daniels dropping the football or fumbling it that helped secure the win for the Chicago Bears. They get in field goal range. They kick the game-winning field goal. Changed the narrative of that football game so much. I've never heard so many. The Chicago Bears are clicking on all cylinders. Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson. They're a dropped ball away from being 2-3, and the narrative just completely changed in that football game. Caleb and Jaden both played decent football in that game. With that being said, it is amazing to me how quickly a narrative can change. If the Washington Commanders hold on to that ball, run the clock out, kick a field goal to put it out of reach, whatever they do, if they hold on to that football and win that football game, we're talking about what's wrong with Ben Johnson and Caleb Williams and dissecting the bad plays. But because the ball was wet and it got dropped, it's a totally different conversation. Wild to me.
I mean, I also think though I think that the what was it, illegal formation that they call it when Rome had the incredible catch in the end zone, ticky tack, one of those calls. I mean, Troy Aikman was in the booth like this can't happen. Like I know they're trying to police, I know they're trying to bring it down, but this can't happen in this spot here. So I think as a whole, man, like Caleb is so frustrating to look at because there's so many times where you're like, that's the guy. Like, that's the guy who I thought he was going to be coming out. That's, the quarterback who I thought could take the league by storm. And then there's just simple stuff that he just misses. Like whether it'd be like a 14-yard out where that should be routine for anybody who is a starting quarterback in the NFL. And he just airmails it because his feet aren't set or because he just doesn't have the tools, like the mechanics to get it to where it needs to go. Like, he misses so many easy, just basic throws, but then he wows you with the crazy throws. Or, I mean, hell, the throw and catch that I'm talking about to Odunze in the end zone, perfect placement. Obviously, Rome made an incredible catch, but like DB couldn't do anything with that ball there. So one of the more frustrating quarterbacks for sure there. I do think as a whole, if this is the process of Caleb and Ben figuring it out there, I do think Chicago is in a good spot there moving forward. But no, you're right, though. The course of this game definitely shifted there with Jaden fumbling that ball there for sure. But I personally didn't think Caleb was incredible. I didn't think he was bad either. It's just he was on, he was off. I wouldn't have had anything to say about after the game, but
I mean, I think that's been the MO with Caleb even since last year. I mean, it's you see the glimpses of what everybody sees and what everybody thinks can be. I think, like you said, you see him miss, a 10-yard dig route with nobody around the guy, and he throws it at his feet. Like, you know what I mean? It's the inconsistency. And the narrative part of it is everybody loves Jaden Daniels. Everybody knows he's great. The NFL wants, and I would say a lot of people around, even around the Bears, they want Caleb Williams to be great. Like, they want him to be, one of those guys that, is, not the face, because that's Patrick, but like wants to be one of the guys that the NFL can promote and be that, one of the next great quarterbacks, like in this time period. So that's definitely what everybody wants. And again, to your point, you see it, it's there. You're 5 games in with a new head coach and offensive coordinator. So some of it, is working out the kinks and getting comfortable with each other. But also, to your point, some of it is bad footwork, bad reads, bad arm angles, just, lazy stuff. So, it's it's the little things that he's going to have to learn at being a professional quarterback. Those are the things you have to clean up. And he'll learn that as he matures, and he's got to learn it quicker, and he has a steeper learning curve because he's the number 1 pick and he's a generational talent, quote unquote. But so he's going to get criticized more than other people do. But it's stuff like that he's got to clean up, and I think he'll be fine because physically, physical talent and gifts and all that, it's all there. I mean, again, if you watch a whole game, you'll see a couple plays where you're just like, damn, like I don't know too many quarterbacks in the NFL can do that. But again, then you'll see him 3rd and 2, miss the guy that's wide open for a first down. So he's just got to clean up the little stuff, get a little bit more mentally sharp. And again, I don't want to call it lazy, but he's got to be a little bit more of a professional.
You have trivia this week, right?
I do.
All right.
Let's
get into trivia
for like a month.
Oh, ready to rock and roll.
I was hoping it wasn't me because I don't have a question.
No, I say that because the 1 week I was supposed to have it, and then Gene asked us the question.
I hijacked it.
Yeah. Then Bill was gone. Then Bill was gone the 1 week. Gene, you came late last week, so but I got a good one for you guys, and it has shifted a little bit. With that, with the time elapsed here, but probably going to be a little bit of a sour subject at this point. But we're going over to baseball.
I knew it as soon as you said it.
We are going to baseball, and this list right here is the players with the most playoff games played as a Philadelphia Philly.
Okay.
Top 10 list.
All right.
And I won't give you there's one guy, well, 2 guys tied for 10 at the same number there, but depending on where we go here, I'll have to figure out if we need a tiebreaker or not, depending on how far we go here.
So it's really simple because you have 2 runs in Philadelphia. So that's fine. This will be fun. But who goes first?
I don't know.
I think Bill won the last one. Bill, go ahead.
All right, I'll take Schmidt.
Mike Schmidt is not in the top 10.
Watch how quick this goes now. Rollins.
Jimmy Rollins tied for number 1 with 46 games.
Watch how quick this goes.
Yeah. All right, Chase Utley.
Chase Utley is also tied at that 1 spot for 46 games.
Ryan
Howard is also tied at 46 games.
Watch, this is gonna fly.
Are they counting
playoff games?
This is getting tricky.
I have 2 more in the chamber.
I'll go Bryce.
Bryce Harper is tied. Number 7, 38.
Woo. Chooch. Carlos Ruiz, if you don't know who Chooch is.
Carlos Ruiz is another one of those guys at 46 games.
I got 1 more locked in the chamber, and then I have to play around a little bit.
I'll go with JT.
JT Realmuto is tied with Bryce, 38.
Yeah.
Guys are cooking.
And then my favorite Philly of all time, number 8, center fielder, Shane Victorino.
Shane Victorino is the last guy that is with that 46 games.
I can't believe you let me go through 08. All I did was go through 08. Let me go through 08.
Bill, you are on the hot seat here.
He misses, I get it's over, right?
Correct.
We're at 8 now.
Yep, you guys got 8 down.
So he left the following year, so it's not gonna be him. Who's on this current one? See, it's tough because all the pitchers are excluded because they just don't play.
No, new answer in 10 seconds. All right. Bill, who you going with?
I don't know. I'm passing.
Oh.
Schwarber.
Kyle Schwarber is on the list, number 38 games played as a Philadelphia Philly in playoffs.
I'm going to guess. I won, right? It's over?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to guess that also on that list would be Castellanos.
Castellanos is on the list.
And then I don't think Stoddard's there. I really don't. I think Castellanos, Bryce, Schwarber, JT are the group here. The other
you guys are missing two more names here
from the current Phillies.
No, just in general. One from the current Phillies, and then
the other one from the current Phillies has got to be Dickhead Bohm. But I think I thought he sat out a game or two. But is it asshole Bohm?
It is Bohm. Stott is the one who is one game less than this bunch. He's at 37.
Was the other one? The other one's got to be one of those outfielders from 08. Was it like Pat Burrell or Jason Worth or any of those?
I was gonna say Burrow, but then Burrow left after the year they won.
Yeah.
Jason Worth was the other one.
Yeah, it makes sense. Good trivia. Loved it. It's quick.
I know you guys would run through it quick there. When I actually saw it, I was like, I don't even have to give them. They won't even need any hints here. Like once they get on the 2 runs, because
that's all I did.
They're the same.
When he said Schmidt, I was just like, I'm just going through 08 because they were in the playoffs 07, 08, 09, 2010, 2011, and then 2012 was the year it basically blew up. So great run. I knew that.
So funny enough, though, this list would have been slightly different before the playoffs started, though, because Schmidt would have been on the list if we had done it when we originally had the question.
That would have been a nightmare. Thank God for the delay game on the options.
I was gonna say because I was like he's got to be close. I just looked it up. Yeah, he's played in 36. It's not like he only made the playoffs 1 year.
Yeah, no, he's definitely there. Brandon Marsh was. I mean, he wouldn't have been on this list, but he's right there with him at 36. So, yeah.
You guys, anything else you guys want to cover NFL before we get into pick 'em?
Because I'm using a different, I'm curious to know your guys' thoughts on this because I'm using a different, you got to be kidding me for down the line here. So quarterbacks, and maybe I'm off base here. Maybe this is just me, winning trumps everything or whatever the case may be. But this week alone, you've had 2 different instances where quarterbacks are basically saying, I mean, football isn't everything. So I'll give you the quotes here. So Tua said, whether I throw 5 picks or 5 touchdowns, I get to come home to my kids who are happy to see me every time. I don't know if that's not a quote. That's not a quote that I want to hear from my starting quarterback.
Tua doesn't know where he is, so I'll give him a pass. Who's next?
The other one.
Okay.
Go ahead, Gene. Because I'll pull up the quote from the other one.
That's not even the worst quote he had this weekend.
Oh, it's not. It's not. But that was, his other one. I didn't know if you guys might be using that, but I just wanted to bring this up here because I had 2 guys that had a very similar kind of quote. Josh Allen had an interview this week. He was speaking with ESPN on what his wife has taught him. And his quote was, "Maybe I am more than a football player." Well, Josh Allen, I don't want to hear that from you after, you start off the season all hot and now you drop 2 games in a row and you're talking about, maybe I am more than a football player. I don't know. To me, both these quotes happened the same week, kind of just rubbed me the wrong way because I was looking at it like, well, Tom Brady, he followed greatness no matter where it went. He had a supermodel wife that was making more money than him, and he said, to hell with all that. I want to keep winning. I want to keep playing football. And yes, he's divorced now. I'm not saying he's the model guy that you want to, follow your life path after, with that off the field stuff. But to me, this just feels like quarterbacks getting content with losing and it just not mattering as much.
I actually owe Eric Rosen with cheesesteak. I think that's the bet he's talking about. And I would love to pick it up for you. Go down to Angelo's, pick it up.
What was the bet?
We picked 4 pitchers. He had 2 Yankees pitchers. I had 2 pitchers. I think I had Sale and Corbin Burns, and he said that Fried and Cole would win more games than them, and Fried won more than both of them combined.
Bro, that's a wild bet.
It is.
Considering Cole missed all the season. Burns pitched like a month.
Yeah, everybody got hurt.
And everybody else, and Chris Sale got hurt. That's crazy. That's a crazy bet for it to end that way.
But I'm happy to pay it, especially with Eric.
Yeah.
I would love to deliver him a cheesesteak.
There's a Steve's open right by the field if you want to do that. I know how you Northeast folks love those things. The Josh one is a little concerning because
that wasn't even his worst quote this weekend.
I know, but it's you always I think Tom Brady in a weird way is the anomaly, and I think he was kind of used to it because people forget he was with like a famous actress before he got with Giselle, so like it wasn't like a shock to him. I think Josh being with Haley Steinfeld there is probably too much like come home after a bad game, or as before, he was probably pissed and let it ruin his day for the next 2 days, and now you get a lot of the pats on the back and it's okay, baby, and it's a slippery slope. It's a slippery slope. Some guys handle it well, some don't.
Him saying that they had a good game plan for Atlanta. Guys, I'm regular Joe Schmo. I watch Buffalo Bills football a ton, and there's 2 game plans. Atlanta had 2 things that they did. They were the most basic things that they did in that football game. They ran outside zone. They actually ran it 17 times. It was like the Eagles running inside zone. They run outside zone, and they ran press man coverage with a spy for Josh Allen. If you're an NFL football team and you're playing the Buffalo Bills and you have reasonably good cornerbacks, you run press man coverage, and you make Keon Coleman or you make Khalil Shakir or whoever, Joshua Palmer, Dalton Kincaid beat you one-on-one. And you don't let Josh scramble, and you control him in the backfield. Second, if you're playing offense against the Buffalo Bills defense, you run outside zone because their linebackers are too small and they get swallowed up, and you run it over and over and over again. The funny thing is, the Baltimore Ravens ran this in the playoffs in the second half, and they were unstoppable. And I was just wondering when it was going to rear its ugly head again, and it did versus Atlanta. Bijan Robinson was unstoppable. It wasn't just Bijan. Algier had like 40 yards and a touchdown. They ran the ball for 200-some yards. It wasn't a good game plan. It was a simple game plan. You can't stop us. And I picked the Atlanta Falcons last week, plus 4.5, and I said they'd win the football game. And I was right. Not a hard concept. And Josh Allen going, oh, yeah, that's a pretty good game plan. Moron. Shut up.
Any issues with Josh and Tua's quotes, though, as a quarterback?
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, like I said, it
wasn't Tua's worst quote. Tua basically called his old team out and said, no, none of them are making meetings.
Not showing up to meetings on time. Players only meetings. What does that say about you, buddy? I bet they were showing up when Brian Flores was calling meetings. Bet they were showing up. Ryan Fitzpatrick was calling players only meetings.
Listen, I will say this: the message isn't wrong. You just can't do it in front of the press. Like you want to have that conversation you have in the locker room and say, "Yeah, we're clearly not taking this serious enough. We have guys on show." You can't go to the microphone and do it that way.
The part that you're missing, though, is there is a reason why. Like Tua clearly doesn't have the voice. Like that locker room is lost. If Tua was a leader and he was like the guy that calls the players, I guarantee you right now, with all the stuff that's going on in Philadelphia right now, with people not seeing eye to eye, if Jalen Hurts called a players only meeting, everybody's going to show up to that meeting, and I don't know what's going to be said during the meeting. I don't know if everyone's going to agree there, but they're going to at least show up. Like there won't be a conversation of players not showing up or not being on time or not taking it seriously. To me, this says more about you than it does about the rest of the team. This is saying that, hey, you are not the guy to lead this group of men because they clearly don't respect you enough to show up to a meeting that you called.
Cottrell, I told you when they fired Brian Flores, this was going to happen. And I'll tell you again, last year, I'm just going to remind you what I said. When they got rid of Vic Fangio because he coached them too hard and Jalen Ramsey put out a tweet saying, "I'll never forgive Vic Fangio for not letting me and Xavier Howard play man coverage. Would have been the best cornerback duo ever." And then Vic Fangio went to the Philadelphia Eagles and they had the number 1 defense in football and won the Super Bowl. You should have fired everyone. Everyone gets fired. They don't respect the coach. They don't respect the quarterback.
I was going to say it, and I think you have to go even a step above Tua. I don't think McDaniels has that locker room anymore. I think he tried really hard to be almost too much of a player's coach, to Gene's point, and I think that some of the backlash from that went over to the defensive side with Fangio, and they were like, why are we not all buddy with our coordinator? And, that I would expect them to probably clean house at the end of this year, because I mean they're almost done now. So there's going to be a lot of changes in Miami next year.
If you're playing fantasy football, start whoever the starting running back is versus the Miami Dolphins. They have 4 edge rushers and no one that can stop the run. They play the Browns this week. Take Quinshon Judkins is over. You're welcome. Like, you're welcome. Rico Dowdle ran for 200 on them. They did it again versus Dallas. And then Kamani Vidal, a guy that was on the practice squad 2 weeks ago, ran for 130 versus them last week. Take whoever's rushing against them, Miami Dolphins. They got 4 edge rushers and no defensive tackles. It's embarrassing. Let's get into Pick'em, gentlemen. We got to move. Speaking of Pick'em, I'm on our heater. And if I didn't take the goddamn Philadelphia Eagles last week, that's a mistake, right? That was a pissed off pick because they got screwed by the referees, and I thought they would beat up on the Giants. And that pick blew up in my face. I should never take the Eagles. I get too emotional about them. But I'm on a heater. But I'm making a mistake this week. I tell you guys all the time, take the points. And I'm not taking the points in any of my games. But
I'm 11-7 is more than respectable there. But Gene, you are on an absolute heater there. But I got 3 games that I really like this week. In the first one, I'm going across the pond. Give me the Rams -3 versus Jacksonville. I like that LA team. I think they will, with that game being in London. I mean, that's going to be as neutral can be there. So I think the Rams are a better football team. And I think that the Jags' hot start to the year is giving people more confidence than what should be there. So I like the Rams -3 there. And then I like 2 unders moving forward here. I like the under 43.5, the Philadelphia Eagles at the Minnesota Vikings. Big one being is I think with Carson Wentz, JJ McCarthy, the Eagles defense is going to slow down that Vikings offense. But on the flip side of it, with the way the Eagles offense has been playing, I think Brian Flores, the guy that we were just talking about, is going to take care of business and slow down even Eagles offense that is struggling. So I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. I like the under 43.5 number there. And then the last one, team again that we were just talking about, pretty on brand here. I like the under 39.5 and the Dolphins at the Browns. The Browns defense has been pretty solid pretty much all year. But on the flip side of that, the Browns offense has not scored more than 17 points in 18 consecutive games. I don't think that is a trend that will light up even against the Miami Dolphins. And so I like the under 39.5 number there.
Control, I will tell you, listen to me. Bet the over on Quinshon Judkins and bet the over on the Browns point total. And then on your other pick that you're wrong about too, you better hope the Philadelphia Eagles stay in that football game, because you're talking about the Eagles defense is going to shut down Carson Wentz and JJ McCarthy. You got Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison going against you and Shalley at corner.
Lockdown, baby.
Jackson and Keely Ringo aren't stopping Jettas and Addison. Sorry.
Carson will throw you one. You'll have extra possessions. JJ will throw you one. You'll have extra possessions.
Well, I mean, only one of them's gonna play. But
I know. I'm just saying it doesn't matter. Both of them are known to give the pill back.
Carson's revenge game. All right, I'm gonna go out to Chicago and start there with Caleb and the Bears we talked about earlier. Got a little lucky in Washington, I agree. New Orleans, they play great at home, even when they stink. They never play well on the road when they're bad. Give me the Bears -5.5 in Chicago. I think Chicago gets a little bit of momentum going. What? Did you pick in this? Yeah, now you don't like it because I'm jinxing it.
Correct.
Get off of it. I'm helping your record. That's what I'm here for. Go pick something else. So I'm taking the Bears -5.5 at home. Second game, the Mike Rabel Bowl, New England, playing well, nice and hot, going down to Tennessee, and all kinds of just utter implosion. Fired a coach. Coach said the rookie quarterback stinks. He's part of the problem. All kinds of crap going on in Tennessee. I like Vrabel and Drake May to come into town and whoop the Titans. I'll take New England -7. Last but not least, a little bit of a hunch. I think Brock Purdy killing. Everybody comes back home to roost. San Francisco -1.5 at home in Atlanta. Love it. Gene obviously agrees. I'm on my way back, boys. I'm way back. I'm gonna get back to 500 this week.
I know I'm in trouble. I have 2 picks to Showy. By the way, I have different spreads. I'm using my spreads just off ESPN Bet, ESPN. So one of them I'm losing a point, one of them I'm gaining a point, but I'm going by the spreads that I've been using on ESPN.com and ESPN Bet. By the way, I should get a plug for that. Somebody just send me a couple dollars. I'm going to start off with both of those games, right? I have the Chicago Bears -4.5 at home versus the New Orleans Saints. The Chicago Bears are going to destroy them. Just like the Seattle Seahawks did, the Bears are going to do the same thing. The Saints play formidable at home. They are a train wreck on the road. They get their ass beat. Give me the Bears -100. Second game, the Atlanta Falcons have won a huge game at home, two of them, versus the Commanders and the Buffalo Bills. When they go on the road, they're terrible, particularly on grass. Last time this team played on grass, they lost 30-0. No Fred Warner, no problem. Give me the Niners to take out Atlanta on a short week in San Francisco on grass. I'll take the Niners -2 to beat the Falcons. And then for the last one, I looked at this spread and I'm like, why is the spread so high?
Oh, I know.
And I realized no Mike Evans, no Chris Godwin, no Emeka Ibuka. They're going to play in Detroit. Give me the Lions -5.5 to absolutely stomp a mud hole in the Buccaneers. I don't see how this game is close. If it's close, the Lions coming off a loss, Bucks coming off an emotional win. This is the most obvious pick of the week. I could be wrong, but give me the Lions -5.5. 80% of the money is on the Buccaneers. I get it. The record is cool. No one's playing. That's my picks this week.
It's funny that that's your pick because that was on one of the ones that I was also looking at. I'm like, this line is crazy. And I knew because I got Emeka in fantasy. So I knew Emeka wasn't going to be playing. Bucky still hurt. Mike, Chris, everything. But to be honest, though, that number still didn't even seem right to me, though. Like 5.5. I'm like, that's a little low. With all those guys out.
I hear you. I think that number is high considering all the money has been bet on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
I agree with that too.
But we'll see.
Do you know what it opened at?
I'll get it right now. I love this site. I use Sports Betting Dime. It gives you everything that you need. It gives you the open. It gives you where you can get the best spread on each side. 4.5. They moved the point with Emeka Ibuka. Oh, Jesus. 77% of the spread money is bets are on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 75% of the money is on the Buccaneers. That's insanity to me. But let's move on to some college football. Guys, we already got my favorite topic out of the way. James Franklin is gone. I'm happy. Control, bring us into the rank to be ranked. Let us know what we're talking about. As usual, if you want a full in-depth coverage, please check out Coast to Coast Saturday morning. College Football Tailgate. Those guys are awesome.
Yeah, so real quick, you had a lot of movement in the rankings because of some of the action that we had last week. So before we get into the games here, just want to hit on a couple of the big ones. You had number 7 Indiana beat number 3 Oregon last week, 30-20. You had Texas get a win in the Red River rivalry, 23-6. You had Alabama take care of business against Missouri, 27-24. And then I thought there was one other game that kind of mattered. Not really. Not really. So just Oregon losing is the big one that open with. But just go over a few games here. You got 5 total that are ranked v ranked. Just go over, I would say, the 3 best here. And I would start with the game. LSU is 5-1, traveling down to Vanderbilt, who is also 5-1 here. Number 10 LSU, number 17 Vanderbilt. I think this game is important because right now you have this cluster of the 5-1, 4-1 teams in the SEC there, and this is one of those ones where one loss can be the make or break point in your season, especially at this point. So, first one I think we should get into.
This reeks.
It's a trap.
This reeks to me. This reeks to me of the Brian Kelly clusterfuck game right here. Like, for no reason, like something crazy will happen in this game. I don't know.
It's a trap. The spread's Vandy minus 2.5. It's a trap. I think
Vegas knows that to me, the spread of minus 2.5 for Vandy, even though it's at home for Vandy, that lets me know Vegas is like, Vandy is going to mop the floor in this game. We're hoping to get money on LSU, and maybe it's like a 1-point, 2-point Vandy win, but I think Vandy money line feels too easy just with that spread in this matchup.
I mean, LSU hasn't played well the last 2 weeks. They got away with one, lost the other. Vandy coming off the Bama loss. My problem is I kind of have an idea of what LSU is and how good they can play, but also how bad they can play. I just really don't know what Vandy is yet. It's just, I know they play well at home. It'll be emotional. Brian Kelly again is prone to piss one of these games away and blame everybody else but himself. So this could be it. And it's a big game, like Cottrell said. This logjam of all these teams. You start getting 2 losses this early in the season, it really kind of puts your back up against the wall. So. I would love to see Vandy win. Just my gut somehow just says LSU is going to win the game somehow.
I like Vandy in the football game, and just strictly spread. I've told you guys before. I think Nussmeier's so overrated. I think Vandy beats him up. I think Vandy wins the football game. They start off strong versus Alabama, and Alabama absolutely imposed their will in that football game. But I think Vanderbilt as a whole is the better football team, and I think they're going to win the game outright.
And I think that's a good point, Gene. You talk about, Alabama imposing their will. I think a part of that, though, while Alabama's game plan was very solid, I think Vandy got away from the run, and they were having a ton of success in there. With that, I think Vandy is a team that's well coached, and they will learn from their mistakes in that Bama game. That Bama game didn't happen. Maybe I think differently with this one, but I'm with you. I'm rolling with Vandy as well. And Gene, it's funny that not Gene, Bill, it's funny that you say this is the game where Kelly will implode, because I can 100% see it happening there as well. Like this just screams at this point the Vandy upset. You get the kids to storm the field, and Brian Kelly loses them a football game. It hasn't happened yet, but I can definitely see that being the case. But I like Vanderbilt.
You're not allowed to storm the field as a favorite. You're not allowed. Get the police out there.
No, when you're Vanderbilt, you storm the field. If you watch it, perfect example of our show. If you watched this show 3 years ago, you were seeing Vandy in 38 point spreads and Gene picking them to still not cover the 38 point spreads. Like Vandy was never used in Superdog because you just knew they wouldn't cover the spread. So regardless,
Now they're favorites.
You beat a borderline blue blood. You stormed the field.
Yeah, I get it. I'm just messing around. I think both your coaches that you guys always talk about pissing down their leg do it this week.
Hey, we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. Don't you worry. That's gonna be the main event. But second game we got here, we got Tennessee, good old Rocky Top, traveling down to Tuscaloosa to take on the Alabama Crimson Tide. This will be a night game. It's at 7:30. Tennessee is ranked number 11. Bama's clawed their way all the way up to number 6 in the country. Gents, thoughts on this game? Bama is sitting at 7.5-point favorites.
Roll Tide.
The local kid gets to go home. I mean, he's playing at Alabama, but Ty Simpson from Tennessee, heavily recruited from Tennessee, chose to go to Alabama, plays Tennessee this weekend, and he's been playing great football. Alabama's been playing great football. I'm going Bama. I think they win. I think they cover. It's look, Josh Heupel's a very good coach, but give me Bama in this one. They've been playing too good.
Last month, Bama. I mean, you could argue the best team in the country. 3 ranked wins. Playing about as good as football as anybody else. I agree with Gene at home. Ty Simpson is firmly worked his way into the Heisman conversation. Home night game against Tennessee. I don't think they have a let up here. So I'm pretty firmly on the Bama side on this one. So roll Tide.
So I'm also picking Bama to win the football game, but I think you guys are forgetting a pivotal piece in this, and that's Bama's secondary has not looked good pretty much all season. Like they have spots where they look okay, they look serviceable, but I think with Joey Aguilar on the other side, I think Chris Brazzell II on the other side, like I think they're gonna have some success there. So while I think Bama has enough to win, I think Tennessee covers, and I think this is a really good football game. To me, I think this game is going to have shades of Tennessee, Georgia, what we saw a few weeks ago.
Sure.
But speaking of Georgia, they are a part of the main event. This game is going to be at 3:30 on ABC. So our first game was at noon. This last game was at 7:30. This is the meat right in between both of those buns there. You got Ole Miss, number 5 in the country, going down to Athens, take on the Georgia Bulldogs, number 9 in the country, 6-0 versus 5-1. Right now, the spread is Georgia minus 7.5 at home. Gents, how are we feeling about this one?
Ole Miss, whether it was a trap game or not, looked awful last week versus Washington State. I thought they were going to lose that football game. Trinidad Chambliss has been incredible for them all year. I think as a whole, Ole Miss is probably the better football team going into Georgia. I think they get smacked. I think they're ready for a loss, and I think this is the Lane Kiffin game where he pisses down his leg. I'll take Georgia to win the football game. I'll take Georgia to cover. But I think in the end, Ole Miss is the better football team when they play on a neutral field later in the year.
I think this is kind of I think this kind of depends on who shows up for Georgia here. They've had glimpses of games this year where they've looked incredible and every bit the part of being a contender till the end, and they've had other stretches of games where they look terrible. I don't think Ole Miss is anywhere near as explosive as they've been in the last couple of years. That being said, they're a lot better defensively than they've been the last couple of years. I think going into Georgia, it's just a different task on its own, though. I think Gunner and company will play well enough at home to win. Not quite as confident as Gene in them smacking Ole Miss around, but I think Georgia wins, and I wouldn't be shocked if they cover. It kind of puts Georgia back in the conversation. I think Ole Miss is overranked anyway. I said that 2 weeks ago.
I think this is the begging to get beat bowl, gents. Georgia had the little game a couple weeks ago against Kentucky where they won by 21. But if you actually watch that game, they did not play well in that one. Then the week before, they blew a game against Bama that they absolutely shouldn't have. And then this past week, they had Auburn. And if you actually watch that game, there was a call on the goal line that should have put Auburn up 17-0 in that football game, but they called it a fumble on Jackson Arnold when, to me, it looked like the ball crossed the plane beforehand. So they ultimately get the momentum off that and go on and win that game 20-10. But in my opinion, I don't think Georgia's looked good in the last month. The last 3 weeks of the season, Georgia has not looked good. On the flip side of that, though, Gene, you brought up the original point of they should have lost last week against Washington State, Ole Miss, that is. You're 100% right. They had no business winning that game. I do think that was more of a look ahead, though. Ole Miss has been clicking and firing on all cylinders there. So with that said, you would think, just given my opinion about how everything has looked the past few weeks, you would think that I'd be rolling with Ole Miss, right? But I think there's a bigger part of it to where you have a Lane Kiffin coach team traveling down to Sanford to play the Georgia Bulldogs on the road. And I think the difference of Lane and Kirby Smart is going to be too drastic in this one. So even though Georgia hasn't played good football, I think that they're going to be too much for the Lane Kiffin led Ole Miss Rebels. So I like Georgia to win the football game. I like them to roll. I actually like Georgia to cover in this game as well.
You want to get into pick 'em?
Absolutely. Gene
3-0 week.
and Bill, y'all are killing it. Bill, if only you were here the first week, who knows what that number might look like for you.
I know. I look like Gene in NFL. Damn.
I hope I don't.
What order are we going in here?
Keep it the same. Go Cottrell, me, Gene.
Okay.
All right. So this week, I feel like I said every week, I have to get off the schneid here. I've gone 1-2. It feels like the last 4 weeks, and I get the super dog right. This week, though, Bill, you might want to close your ears for this one. I like Washington plus 5.5 at Michigan. I think the Huskies are going to play Michigan tight in that football game. I think they're going to have a shot to win, but the way that their offense, the explosiveness they have in their offense, I think if anything, if Michigan wins that game, that's going to come down to a last-second field goal or, a stop late or something of that sorts there. So I like Washington plus 5.5 there. Second game, I like Houston plus 1.5 at home versus Arizona. I think the way Houston is playing, their only loss being to a really good Texas Tech team so far. Connor Wegman at the helm. I think they do enough to take care of business at home against the Arizona team. And the last one, I really have no rhyme or reason behind it, but I have Duke minus 1.5 at home versus Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech to me is the better football team. Georgia Tech, I looked at this game originally. I'm like, Georgia Tech has to be the favorite. And for Duke to be the team that got blown out of the water by Illinois and to be 1.5 point favorites against an undefeated 13th ranked team, it just really stood out to me. So I'm rolling with what Vegas sees. I'm rolling with Darian Mensa to take care of business at home to pick me up a win in that one. And then the last game, I'm going against, I think this may be the first time I've ever done it. I'm rolling with the Kent State Golden Flashes plus 26.5 at Toledo for my super dog. That's a team that's feeling good. They just picked up their first FBS win in 3 years. And I think they go out, they find a way, keep the game tight. And when I say tight, I'm talking 22 points, 21 points, anything under that 26.5 number. But give me the Golden Flashes to pick me up some super dog points this upcoming week.
All right. I don't blame you for picking Washington because, like I said, I almost did it, but I refuse to. I'm just not going to do it. But I wouldn't be surprised you win that game. I'm going to start out, believe it or not, I'm going to start out in UCLA. UCLA minus 3.5 at home against Maryland. Maryland's got to go across the country. Maryland's starting to play a little bit down to kind of, I think, in the medium where we thought they were going to be. UCLA is just kind of going out there playing schoolyard ball with Nico right now. 2 wins in a row. Went to Michigan State last week and just smacked Sparty around. I think they go home to the Rose Bowl, and I think they cover against Maryland. Second game, Penn State at Iowa. Iowa minus 2.5. Give me the Hawkeyes. I don't know who's going to play quarterback for Penn State. I don't think it's going to matter. It's going to be a low-scoring game, and I will tell you that I think as much as Penn State struggled to get the ball to receivers with Drew Aller, backup quarterback, I think he's going to struggle mightily against that Iowa defense. Give me the Hawkeyes at home. Last but not least, I'm going USC plus 9.5 on the road at Notre Dame. USC, I think, will take a little momentum from beating Michigan last week. I don't think Notre Dame's defense has been fixed. I think USC is going to be able to run the ball against Notre Dame all day. I think it's a high-scoring game. I don't think Notre Dame is 2 possessions better than USC, so give me USC plus 9.5. Last but not least, I'm going to go Wisconsin plus 25.5. I know they're playing for Luke Fickell's life. I know they're nowhere near as good as Ohio State, but maybe there's some jump around magic somewhere left in Camp Randall, or they keep it close, or there's some kind of letdown from Ohio State. Kind of a hope and a prayer on that one, but I'll take Wisconsin plus 25.5.
Aren't all super dogs kind of like a hope and a prayer? I mean,
but I feel like I've definitely taken other ones, and I'm like, I feel like not that they're going to win the game or anything, but I'm like, I'm pretty sure they're going to beat the spread. Like, I feel confident about it. I don't feel that way this week.
For Wisconsin to beat the spread, they're averaging, I believe, 6 points per game this year. So, like, their defense would have to be incredible.
Can't Brandon jump around.
I'll start with this. I think that me and Control being on the opposite side of things never make me feel good.
Uh-oh.
But I don't care if it's a trap. I don't care how ugly it looks. I don't care how bad it looks. Give me Haynes King getting points. I'll take Georgia Tech plus 1.5 over Duke. I like Georgia Tech. They're 6-0. I think they're the better football team than Duke. Duke's not selling out. It's $22 to get into this damn stadium. I'll take Georgia Tech, who's not far. I think they'll travel well. I think they'll get their fan base there. I think it'll basically be almost like a even crowd. Second one, I'll take the Oregon Ducks to bounce back over Rutgers. I'll take a minus 17.5. I think they dominate that football game. They lost last week. This has got to be their bounce back football game. Give me the Ducks to impose their will over Rutgers. Here's one that's a little tricky. I've been all over A&M this year, not in this game. I'll take the 7.5 with Arkansas. Arkansas has been playing good football recently. Don't read into the 2-4 record. Read into the fact that they're playing good football. They're playing at home. I think they keep it within 7.5. You might be yelling a Hogs upset. Give me 7.5 in Arkansas. And then for my super dog, I just touched on this game on the opposite end. I think there's a huge letdown happening in Indiana. You don't beat Oregon and then there not be some letdown. I like Michigan State plus 27.5 just to cover the number. But don't get crazy. They're not going to win the football game, but it might be a little dicey in the second half. Hey, pick me up 10, pick me up 15, pick me up 6 super dog points, but give me Michigan State plus 27.5.
Gene, it's actually funny, though, because I can definitely tell that you've clearly been watching some college football because, for one, the Georgia pick, you're on the opposite side of me, but everything, I was looking at that game, I'm like, I'm picking Georgia Tech. They're the better football team. They're the dogs. Like, I got to pick them. But it just I couldn't fathom it. So I understand your reasoning there. But the Arkansas thing, so they fired their coach a few weeks ago, and now all of a sudden they're playing good football. It's like the UCLA effect, apparently. You fire your coach, you start playing good football. We talked about Oklahoma State a couple weeks ago when we all picked them for Superdog, and they covered the spread. So it's crazy that that's happening there. But I love that Arkansas pick there because Arkansas is a really good team, and they were supposed to be like a sleeper throughout the year. But then, head coach underperforms and, you get a 2-4 record there. But I love that from you.
Thank you. Don't get it twisted. I think Texas A&M is a really good football team. I think they play good football as a whole. I just think that this is one of those situations where I think it's a bad week for them. And I don't think it will continue. I just think that playing at Razorback Stadium, Marcel Reed's been incredible, but I think Arkansas covers. And I wouldn't be shocked if they win the game.
Arkansas scored points all year, so you have trouble stopping people. But I mean, they definitely have the offense to stay in that game. Also, Mike Elko. Don't be surprised if that name comes up a lot in the Penn State search.
But why? Like, why would you leave? A&M is. Well,
I'm not saying you. I'm not saying he
program.
leaves. Penn State's a better program. I'm not saying he leaves, but I think he would be somebody they would want. That's all.
By the way, Cottrell, your boy Andres Jimenez hit a 2-run home run for the Toronto Blue Jays to tie the game. I think we're on the crash course for Mariners, Dodgers. Both teams going 2-0 on the road. Mariners go up 2-0. Julio Rodriguez hits a 2-run bomb early in the game. But Andres Jimenez gives those pesky Blue Jays a little bit of life. That team can hit the baseball. The difference in that series has been simple, right? The Toronto Blue Jays are hitting a lot of balls hard. They're scoring runs.
Yep.
But they can't pitch with Seattle. Seattle's got so much more pitching depth. And I feel like in the situation in Milwaukee, it's different. You've just seen 2 incredible starts from Snell and Yamamoto. There's like something that got put out. I don't know when the last time it happened, but 2 pitchers pitching 8 and 9 innings on the road to wins in back-to-back starts. I don't think it's happened in like 30 years. Shally, we talked about it for baseball all year. The pitching depth for teams matters. LA got healthy at the right time, and their pitching depth is incredible. When you could throw out Snell, Yamamoto, Glass now, Ohtani, you got 100-mile-an-hour kids in the bullpen that were crying at the beginning of the season. Now they're closers. Seattle, same thing, right? Seattle, the difference is I think we're on a crash course for Mariners versus Dodgers, and we'll talk about it a lot more next week when we have that matchup and what I predict. I think the Blue Jays have a better chance of coming back in the series. If you were given percentages out now, what chance do you give the Blue Jays in coming back in that series versus the Mariners?
I mean, we got to see what happens tonight. I mean, how that ends, but
I'm asking now.
If you're assuming the Mariners win, listen. I mean, Toronto's an electric atmosphere when it's sold out. I mean, we've seen it, numerous times, in the past decade or so. I think they'll have Gosman for Game 3, I believe, which is probably the way they'd want to set it up. To your point, after that is kind of where it gets iffy. And we talk about it all the time. You got to have 4 good guys to win a World Series. I think Seattle has that. I don't think Toronto does. Toronto still has the ability to get hot and just hit anybody and get in those slugfest games and win them. I mean, we saw them do it against the Yankees. Seattle's a little bit of a different animal though, because they have the bullpen pieces, like you said, that can come in and stop the bleeding and you have starters that are going to give you, 5, 6, 7 innings, per start and give you quality starts and not, you're not getting into your bullpen in the 3rd inning because somebody gave up 5 runs already. So I'll still say like 30% chance. I mean, that again, I think Gosman's good enough to win Game 1 or Game 3, excuse me.
Oh, they're playing Game 3 right now.
No, Game 3.
And Shane Bieber's pitching.
Bieber. He's not a control boy.
Yeah.
But
4 of them.
I'll say like 20%. I don't know. It's probably even lower than that. I think Seattle is built for this time of year, and they finally got here. They went out and got the bats they needed to help those pitchers. And I just think they're built the right way. They're built the way I would build a team.
I'll take their top 6 versus anybody.
Yeah, right. Yeah, now. Yeah.
Rosarena, Dumper, Julio Rodriguez. Polanco's been hitting the absolute cover off the ball. Naylor.
Yeah.
The only person that's not been hitting well is Eugenio Suarez.
Yep.
But I'll take their top 6 versus anybody. The difference is they don't have the depth through 7, 8, 9. So if their top 6 isn't hitting, they're in trouble. Right now it's 2-2. Kirby's pitching for Seattle, 2nd and 3rd, 2 outs. Vladdy's been on an incredible tear. He just doubled off the fence. It's that's why it's 2nd and 3rd, but I'll give them a 10% chance. They're playing in Seattle. The first 2 games were already won in Toronto. I'll give them a 10% chance. What are you giving the Toronto Blue Jays coming back in that series, Cottrell?
I'll go 20%. Reason being is, and granted, I know this isn't the Yankees on the other side, pitching wise, but that Toronto Blue Jays offense has the ability to go blow for blow with the Mariners. Like if they get in a game where pitching doesn't hold up there for them, and while I do think the Mariners have good pitching, if it gets into a spot where the Blue Jays need to score 6 runs to win a game, like I think they have the ability to do so. So that's why I keep that number probably about 20-25% there because of that. But as a whole, I think, at this point in the series, Seattle's done a great job of, giving themselves some wiggle room there. You go out, you win the first 2 games in Toronto and come back home. Even if you split here, you don't, of course you don't, you'd rather just end it in Seattle, but even if you split here and you do have to go back to Toronto, you put yourself in a position where you already know you've won 2 games there. So you're not afraid of that atmosphere, but still, you also have an opportunity to come back home and close it out. So I say 20-25% there. But it's really just due to the respect that I have for that Blue Jays offense.
Let's move over to the NL. Yamamoto. Complete game. Gives up a home run. First batter. Absolute shutdown since. The Dodgers getting no help from Shohei Ohtani. He's batting like 120 in the postseason.
Yeah, he's not.
He's like 2 for, I don't know he is.
And we're here. I asked you guys in the chat, and I don't think I got a response. Shohei has been batting awful in the postseason. Were you okay with walking him in the Philly series?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you can't walk the next guy.
You can't walk Mookie.
I get it, but I didn't get a response from you guys then, so I was curious on what your thoughts were.
The best hitter in the world. I don't care. He's having a bad series, but
Mookie's behind him.
I get it. I still take out my chances with Mookie. Mookie couldn't catch up to that fastball in game 3, and you put him in the same situation and you throw him a bunch of splitters and sliders. It made no sense. Can't walk him. But yes, I'm okay with it.
All right, I was just curious.
Dodgers. I feel like we say this all the time. Kiki Hernandez is just different. He's terrible all year. And then the postseason comes around, and this guy is just an absolute stud. He just gets hits their lineup is just deep. They can afford to sit guys like Max Muncy when they're going against left-handed pitching, and they're fine. I've never seen a worse. How do I word this? Shally, I want to ask you a question. How much would I have lost my mind if Teoscar Hernandez was on my team? For the 8.62 put out, or for the not running for the ball that went to the fence versus JT?
Yeah, I mean, listen, it would be comically funny to probably watch you freak out, but it's not how we play. So no, it wouldn't work. It wouldn't fit. That is he. I mean, I'll say this: he's lucky they won the game because he's lucky they won the game. He's lucky he plays on the team that he plays on. Because if you're in a tight series and do something like that, and you turn around and lose that game, and it flips a series, that is something you will never live down in your career.
I mean, he's done it multiple times, and then he gets a home run and it makes up for it. If I'm the Dodgers, I want him to make a stupid mistake because then he's going to hit a home run. The guy, it's insanity the way things work out for this guy. He jogs to the ball that JT hits, rolls to the fence, costs him 2 runs. He hits a 3-run home run. He gets thrown out on an 8-6-2 putout from third base on a force play at home because he doesn't know how to. You can run on first touch. It's inexcusable, that base running. You have a third base coach. If I'm the third base coach, I'm like, stand on the bag. As soon as the ball's touched, go home. What the hell was he doing? Inexcusable base running. Yet, it's a home run. An inning later, it doesn't matter anymore.
Again, I mean, it's the home run, and like I said, they won the game. So it's like it's a different story if he doesn't hit the home run and the Phillies squeak out a 1-run game, because then it's every reporter is at his locker after the game, like, what'd you do this for? Why'd you do that? But it's some guys get lucky like that, some guys don't, and that's I say it all the time, little things lead to big things.
Did you watch the Brewers Dodgers game 1?
Parts of it, yes.
Did you see the ending of it?
Yes.
I already know what you're about to say.
Yeah, I don't understand how Bryce
why you don't get hit.
He's throwing a curveball. It hits your leg. This game's tied.
Yep.
He's just diving out of the way of a curveball with the bases loaded and a tie and run at third base. You go, it's a natural reaction. Are you out of your mind?
It is,
dive into a 99-mile-an-hour fastball.
It was at the knee, though. Like, he was probably like, I'm with you, though, because I knew that's where you were going to go. I literally knew that's exactly where you were going to go. And it is one thing to say you got to stand in there and take it because I'm with you like you do. But at the same time, like, if I got a ball coming, like, directly at my kneecap, like, chances are I'll move my leg, like, just off of mental fortitude.
Here's where that gets different. He hangs the curveball, and it's gonna like you can visually see it and like pick it up right away. It's gonna hit you like the arm or something. That's when the guys are like, they just were like, all right, cool, I'm just gonna take it. Your natural reaction when anything's thrown hard at your legs, it's to get out of the way. And it's I understand what you're saying, and you're not wrong, but it's just that's quick twitch, muscle memory stuff that you're like, just get the hell out of the way. And nobody's volunteered.
Very next pitch is the strikeout, though.
Yeah, dude, I get it.
But out of the strike zone. He threw a fastball that was not even on the goddamn radar.
Well, I mean, that's part of the problem in its own right, but you can't blame a guy. It's tough. It's like one of those Monday morning quarterback hindsight things. Like, it's like, yeah, bro, just sit there and get hit by a pitch. But like in the moment when it's happening, like it's coming at you, you're like, oh crap, I gotta get out of the way. And nobody volunteers to get hit by a 99-mile-per-hour fastball, I promise you.
Okay.
That shit hurts.
Before we end up here, Dodgers, Gene, you talked about the Dodgers roster, and I just watching them and seeing the dominance pretty much from everywhere. Like the fact that you're at this point 2 games away from World Series berth, and the NL MVP has been a non-factor. Do you think this run is even more reason of why we may see a lockout after next season? Like, 'cause that's the one thing that my mind keeps like wondering too. Like, all right, like this Dodgers team is just too damn good. Like, are we going to have a lockout so we don't have teams like the Dodgers year after year after year? Because I think I saw something that said this is the 13th time in the last 15 years the Dodgers were in the NLCS, which is absurd.
I don't think
I don't. Good.
You good?
I don't think you're going to see a lockout. I think you're going to see shit change though. Here's the biggest problem. I think you need a hard cap in baseball. The players are never going to agree to it. It's not going to happen. You need a floor in baseball. I think you're going to see that because I think what that does is it makes other teams spend money, And then it doesn't make it as easy for the Dodgers to keep throwing money at people because they're one of the 6 teams that can afford to just stockpile these people. If you make Oakland and you make Minnesota and you make Cleveland and all these other teams make their payroll be $75, $100 million minimum every year, now all of a sudden all these people have they have options of where they can go. Secondly, I think the deferment bullshit is going to go away real quick. Because again, we joke about their payroll is approaching $400 million this year, and that's with them paying Shohei $6 million instead of 60, like you're supposed to. So all of a sudden, you start paying people per year what you're supposed to pay them. There's not a lot of teams that are going to operate on a $500 million payroll. They're not, because that's about where the Dodgers would be if they had to pay everybody out. So that I think you're going to see. I think you're going to see the owners from other teams be like, you know what? Cool. You guys don't want a salary cap. That's fine. But this deferment bullshit, that's going to go because, you can't have it both ways. So that I will be, again, I don't think they lock out, but I do think you'll see changes. And I think you have to. I mean, you just can't keep going. You can't keep going down the road we're going down now because, again, you're just going to leave it to the Dodgers, the Yankees, hate to say it, the Phillies. You're going to limit it to 7 or 8 teams every year, and you're just nobody's ever going to win. Like Seattle went out, made big trades, and started spending money. They're in ALCS all of a sudden. It's what you have to do, and it's you. If you want to put parity back in the sport, then you have to make teams make money or spend money. And don't tell me they don't have it because we every year the report comes out and Pittsburgh's the second most profitable baseball team in the league, and they draw 10,000 fans every night, and that's a good night if Skeens isn't pitching. So everybody's making money. So let's just let that bullshit fly out the window.
Salary floor.
Salary floor. You need a floor, correct. You're not going to get a hard cap. You might see go back to where they amp up the luxury tax like they used to. You're never going to get a hard cap in baseball. The players,
basketball, second apron.
Yeah, and if they do that, I'm fine with that too. You're never going to get a hard cap in baseball, though. You're not going to do it.
I think they can defer payments. I think deferring payments should still be paid into an escrow account from the Dodgers. I feel like that if they have to fork up the money right away and then have to defer it for down the line, they should have to put it into an escrow account so it's not in anyone's pocket. You want to defer pay it? Fine. You should still have to pay it.
Well, either that or say if Shohei, if it comes out to whatever his AAV would be, so if it's $60 million this year, if you're only giving them 10 because you're deferring the rest, that 60 number should still go towards, correct. That's at least got to go towards their payroll then. Because then, like you said, if it's going to put them in the second apron and now all of a sudden they got to be like, all right, cool, now we got to pay another $50 million to baseball, it starts making decisions a little bit harder.
Agreed. Let's get into You Gotta Be Kidding Me.
All right. This week for me, I'm going to the college football landscape, and I'm going to a game that happened with one of our host teams. I'm going to the USC and Michigan game. So USC was fined $5,000 for playing running back Brian Jackson after he was ruled out and didn't dress until the halftime of the game. So if you're watching the game, USC had a couple running backs get hurt during that game, and they had a player who was listed as out on their injury report designation, did not dress before the game. He was in street clothes on the sidelines. And then halftime hits, they are looking around like who's going to be in the running back room. And they're like, all right, we got to get this guy cleared. So they have this independent doctor come in and say, oh yeah, he's healthy. He's good to go. So they dress him up. They put him out there on the field. And it's one thing if he doesn't make a difference in this game. This kid had a 20-plus yard touchdown in this football game. So for me, majority of this is going over to USC. how can you play a player that is injured? Like that just feels dirty. But then the other half is if you're the NCAA, how is the fine for this only $5,000? Like that's less than a slap on the wrist. That is like, yeah, hey, you give them a thumbs up and like, they don't do that again. So for me this week, majority is on USC for the decision, but the NCAA for this joke of a punishment for doing so.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Like Lane Kiffin probably carries that around in his pocket. Like Lincoln Riley. Like, listen, I'm not making any excuses. They beat the shit out of us, so like I don't care on that side of it. I don't know how it's even legal. How can you even make the decision to be like, this kid's not playing, and you pull you just yank some doctor out of the stands, bring you in the locker room, and you're like, yo, you good? Yeah, I'm good. And the kid can go dress and play? How is that even legal? It shouldn't even be an option. Like, that's ridiculous. That being said, I didn't have one this week till I just saw this list. And this is the most preposterous thing I've ever seen in my life. Bleacher Report, we're going to switch to wrestling real quick. Bleacher Report just came out with the top 25 male superstars of the last 25 years.
Okay. I love the list.
Are you serious?
Yeah, love it.
I'm fine with the top 3.
Okay.
There's no way Rey Mysterio can be number 4.
I think he's a little overrated. I agree. But we're making it like I think he's 6 or 7, bro. He's a Hall of Famer. He's been there every WrestleMania. He's been a world champion. He's won a Royal Rumble. Like he's brought so much to the Latino wrestling. Like I don't know. I have no problem with him being 6 or 7. He's 4. Okay, that's a little hot.
They get a little bit of a break just because you're having Rock and Stone Cold at the end of their runs, because if you can only go back 25 years. Cena's number 1, obviously. Randy's 2. I don't have a problem with that. Roman's 3. I don't have a problem with that. But again, if you're still, I mean, he's just way too high. Daniel Bryan and being a 10, like whatever.
I would have swapped Daniel Bryan and Edge 10 and 11. That's what I would have done. And I would have dropped Rey Mysterio down a little bit.
I think Brock's too low.
I mean, he's also a piece of shit. So
okay, well, I mean, we're not factoring in those type of things.
Maybe Bleacher Report is.
Maybe not. I mean, I think the only thing that hurts him is part-time.
I don't think the list is that bad. I really don't.
I mean, some of these guys, dude, like, I mean, if you're going to go just all strictly accolades, like you can't put Ray over Seth.
Seth
and at times I can be the most anti-Seth guy. Oh, and also he's hurt again, but neither here nor there. But if you're going off accolades and stuff like that,
hurt since a long time. So
he's always banged up in either real life or storylines. I'm tired of it. But you can't put him over Seth then.
You're right.
Whatever. I'm done.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
You really got to be kidding me this week. My you got to be kidding me this week is Brian Branch of the Detroit Lions. And I understand not being happy after a game. I understand not shaking someone's hand. Didn't shake Patrick Mahomes' hand. Juju start talking smack to him. Walk away. Don't shake their hand. That's fine. But he threw an open hand smack, and this is where people get the whole conversation misconstrued. He swings at him. A fight starts. Juju's helmet gets taken off, and then he punches him in the face. Brian Branch, you got to be better than that. You got to be smarter than that. You can't do stupid stuff like that. Juju Smith-Schuster is absolutely an instigator. He's a guy that runs his mouth. He's the same guy that got into it with what was it, James Harrison earlier in his career, a blindside block, like what he absolutely very uncalled for stuff. Brian Branch got blocked in the back in the game. After the game, he decided he wanted to throw a punch. Now he's suspended for a Monday night game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, in which his team absolutely needs him. Thankfully for them that the Buccaneers are missing half the receiving corps. Brian Branch, you got to be better than that. Walk away, go in the locker room, don't shake hands, do what you got to do. The last time I've seen someone throw a punch like that was when C.J. Gardner-Johnson was talking trash over the line to the Chicago Bears player, and he waited a whole series to come out and throw a punch. There's no need for it. It was dumb. It was stupid. So for this week, Brian Branch.
Come on, you gotta be kidding me.
Also one of the quickest appeals ever heard. He appealed it, and they're like, nope, sorry, you're suspended.
I didn't even see that they made a decision on his appeal. That's hilarious.
Yeah, it took it
who does Detroit play next week?
next week.
Well, they got Tampa this week. It's only 1 week. It's only 1 week suspension.
My point being,
oh, they made it so quick so that he wouldn't play this week and he can be back next week.
and he played Minnesota, yeah. So there really wouldn't have been an
Tinfoil.
advantage there. Yeah,
No tinfoil.
no,
Next
none to
week,
be
Kansas City at Buffalo.
none to be had.
Next week, you got Kansas City, Buffalo.
Apparently, Josh doesn't care about winning, so I like Kansas City.
Oh, it's not next week. Sorry. Next week, the Lions play. Lions have a bye next week. So it would have been still Minnesota.
Oh, okay. Nice.
Gentlemen, 5 years, 5 full years, 262 episodes in the books. Went a little bit late tonight, but who gives a shit? You know why? Because we do what the hell we want. Because we're not controlled by toxic radio or some guy running the ones and twos behind the scenes.
All right, nobody throwing shade at Mike.
I like Mike. I'm not against Mike. I'm talking about like we can do what we want to do.
Facts. These are the facts.
Control. Any final thoughts?
No, man, nothing too much for me. You know, I feel like I said my piece at the beginning of the show here. It is definitely crazy that after doing show 1 in Mike's apartment that we are still here 262 episodes later here and still chugging along here. Like, you know, I feel like, you know, there's still plenty of room to grow there. And now it's cool. I feel like no matter what's gotten in the way, we figured out a way to keep it rolling. And outside of literally 1 year Christmas time, that Christmas literally fell on a Wednesday, we've run consecutively on every Wednesday, whether it be you two or, you know, some variation of the two of us or someone bringing in a guest host. Like, you know, Wire2Wire is happening 7 o'clock on a Wednesday like clockwork. So it's definitely it's a great accomplishment, 5 years, but definitely we still got meat on the bone for sure.
Meat on the bone. Shall any final thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's not even, I know what I do, and it's, I appreciate both of you and your constant, effort, consistency, enthusiasm. Because like we said earlier, I mean, the 5 years is flown by, like it's nuts, and it's because it is funny. Like I vividly remember pulling up to Mike's shady apartment the first night and like looking for Gene's car. Like, am I at the right goddamn place? Like this can't be right. Like, and going upstairs in that little room, and it's and again, it doesn't feel like it was 5 years ago. So, I love both you guys, and it's like I said, it's when you create something like this and it keeps going and you keep building it, and and you're a part of it. It's a really cool feeling. So, here's the 5 more, and hopefully we're in a different spot 5 years from now, and maybe we'll be in a real studio somewhere and we won't be, on remote per se. So, but it's been a blast.
I want to finish with saying this. I didn't get an opportunity to say this on the 8th because of everything that happened in my life. My family and friends threw me a surprise 40th birthday party, October 3rd, which would have been last week would have been the first show I could have made mention of it. Obviously, the things that happened that transpired that I really couldn't talk about it, but really want to thank everybody. My mom, RJ, Adrian, Nick Hurtado, Tiffany Hurtado, Ashley Kaler. I don't want to miss anyone's wife either because they did a ton of work. Timmy Todd, Danny Dempsey. There's so many people. I feel like I'm going to miss someone, but I really appreciate all the work that I've always said. But the best gift you can ever get me is a surprise birthday party that I don't really know is coming. And to see all my friends and family in one room is. I remember when they they lit the candle up for my 40th birthday, and they said make a wish. I said I can't make one. This was my wish. I really love to have all my friends and family that really surprised me. The effort, the time, the money, the DJ from Tiffany's sister putting together the balloons for a backdrop for photos. Man, Nick coming, not sleeping because he had to work overnight. He had to leave the party to go to work overnight. RJ and Ashley, all they did. Adrian, so many people. I wish I could just shout everyone out for their effort. And my mom, everyone was telling me how much my mom was messaging them and freaking out over, does he know it's a surprise? Does he not know it's a surprise? I want to have the opportunity to thank everybody publicly for that. It was one of the best nights of my life. I don't remember off the top of my head a better one. And it meant the absolute world to me. So my birthday is next Sunday. So the 26th. And the only thing I want from my on the 26th, that's it. If anybody wants to stop over and watch football with me, I'll be sitting on the couch watching the Eagles play the Giants, watching football all day. I do not care about anything else. You don't go anywhere out. My birthday party already happened. But if you want to still celebrate with me, doors open at 3 Ferndale Drive. Come on over and watch some football with me. But thank you guys so much for everything you guys bring to the show. 5 years. I appreciate all the thoughts and well wishes from everybody. From my uncle who passed away. He had a great service on Monday. And then thank you two for being able to do these shows. It's fun talking sports. I do this shit. It's so much fun just talking sports and going back and forth and keeping track of records and pick 'em and trivia and different hot wire and different aspects that we added to the show. And thank you to the entire Wire2Wire network. I just said this morning on the morning show. We have a stacked roster of great shows. Like if you guys want to learn more about basketball, listen to Brett and Mo break down basketball. It's just fun. They know more about basketball than they forgot more about basketball than I know. If you want to learn more about college football, if that's like really your thing, listen to these guys, Cottrell, Bill, and Alex talk about college football on Saturday morning. Is just fun. Wrestling, there's just so many good shows that are happening right now on Wire2Wire Network. I appreciate everybody. So just wanted to end on that note. Thank you guys for tuning in to Wire2Wire Sports Podcast. Thank you for 5 years of support. And I'm the NFL genius, Gene Walzak. That's Kent State's own, Cleveland's own, College Cottrell, Uncle Shally, Scholastic Shally, Mr. William Shawcross. And we are signing out.